Welcome to Before the Dust Settles, a live Westworld after show with your host Justin Thomas.
What is going on, everybody? Justin Thomas here. This is Before the Dust Settles, where we try to analyze Westworld immediately after, thus Before the Dust Settles. I'm here with my co-hosts, Axel Foley. Axel Foley, please unmute yourself. Heidi from Costume Co. And we have two very special guests today. So I'm going to let the guests introduce themselves, and then we'll go Axel and Heidi. We have Vanessa Cole, writer for Watchers on the Wall and Westworld Watchers, a fantastic, brilliant artist, and Brett, a fantastic theorist, a fantastic analyst, and just part of the DVR podcast family. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Vanessa, and then we'll go Brett, Heidi, Axel. All right?
Sure. So I'm Vanessa. I do write for Watchers on the Wall. I wrote for Westworld Watchers. Been a little slack with that lately. It's a lot of stuff going on, so I've just not had the time, and I'm the only one doing it. So there's not a whole lot happening right there. But I still love the show. I still enjoy talking about it. So I'm really excited to be here and break down this episode with the rest of you guys.
Excellent. Well, it's not a glamorous job watching on the wall, right? You got to do it. So Brett, go ahead. You're muted, Brett. Kindness will get you nowhere here. Don't bother muting yourself.
Right off the bat, what a great start. Hey, I'm Brett Fuller. I've been a huge Westworld fan ever since it came out, and I was fortunate enough to be invited on a podcast in season 2 by the one and only Axel Foley, and it's the rest is history, as they say. So now you can hear me on the Westworld Recast Thursday show, which is the Cleanup Techs, and I have two awesome hosts, Gina and Jenny, with me, and we dig in every week. So I'm happy to dig in here as well.
Excellent. And on to our co-hosts, Heidi from Costume Co. first.
Well, hi, everybody. Well, I'm always happy to be included in this amazing panel we have tonight. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Heidi. I'm with Costume Co. I have a channel dedicated just to talking about costumes in movies and TV shows. And actually, I have quite a few videos on Westworld, at least from seasons 1 and 2. So might be doing something on season 4, like we'll talk about it later, about the new park we just saw.
Absolutely. Last but not least, Billy, since you told me you like to be called Billy.
That is true.
Okay, so Axel.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
It's me. My name is Axel. I am one of the many hosts of the Westworld Theory Cast on the DVR Podcast Network, dvrpodcast.com. We got so many shows a week. I'm excited to talk about the show. Let's dive in. This gave us a lot of cool answers and more questions. I'm excited.
Absolutely. So like I said, I was dealing with some tech stuff in the first, so I was watching, but it was on a side screen. This is very future world-esque. I'm going to push this to Vanessa, and we're going to kind of keep that rotation. I don't know if you guys see it the same on the screen. Vanessa, Brett, Heidi, Axel. So first impressions, future world. I know that you're feeling that vibe as well, right?
Definitely. And I will preface this by saying I have not seen the movie, but I do know what it's about. So yes, like replacing prominent people with hosts, very, very future world-esque. I know we'll get into it, but I'm really interested more in what they're doing to the humans, especially with Anastasia, with the flies. Potentially nanotechnology. It's pretty interesting. So, yeah, I'm. It seems fairly like it's pretty much like following along that movie, but I know that they're gonna have some twists and turns, and it's not. I feel like they're setting us up to think one thing, and then they're gonna pull the rug out from under us. So we'll see.
Yeah, it makes sense what they're doing. I mean, whether they're copying Future World or not, I mean, I guess that would be the next logical move. Brett, have you seen Future World, Brett?
I have not. Same boat as Vanessa, but I know
somebody's got to take that hit. Somebody's got to go.
Yeah, so feeling the Future World there. It's interesting, even though it's kind of expected. I was interested to find out. We heard how many hosts that they have replaced. I guess 249.
Yep.
I guess as far as the kill and place plot goes. So you know, we'll see where it goes. I'm sure there's going to be a twist and a turn along the way.
Heidi, do you see any twists or turns in this Nolan project?
Oh, always. Oh, I actually did see Future World, and I'm going to tell you it was terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, totally agree with Vanessa, and that it looks like it's, pretty inspired by this. I think very loosely inspired. Of course, the original Westworld, though, was very good with Yul Brynner. I highly recommend it, and a lot of parallels there that if anybody wants to check it out, it's Michael Crichton wrote the screenplay, who's also the same person who did Jurassic Park. Just a little bit of trivia there.
Yep.
Absolutely.
He likes amusement parks go bad, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What could go wrong?
Definitely. Yeah, I thought I like what everybody said. Vanessa in particular, I agree with you in the sense that I was intrigued by this kind of difference between a new host that she has made there, right? 249. I think the 249 was representation of how many people they've replaced in the real world. That doesn't limit her to the number of other hosts that we've seen also, right? Like people from Westworld and such that she has working for her. But what she did with, what was the woman's name? The senator's wife?
Anastasia.
Anastasia. That was interesting. It's like, what kind of experiment were they doing with those flies? What was going on with her? And then later on, Dolores says that she doesn't want to use her people to do certain jobs and such. So maybe this is what the reason why these flies is just a kind of some mind fuckery from her so she can control humans. But is it going to be like a Matrix-like thing? Like they've got them build in the park and fill in the host roles. So what we're going to see is something in reverse, like that they're not hosts that are in this park. They're humans that have flies in their brains.
Well,
she doesn't want to.
There's at least we saw the Clementine replacement host as the welcome wagon for this new Roaring Twenties world. So she's definitely an actual host.
But she seems to know that. Like I'm saying, is that Dolores doesn't want to control her own people. She wants them to choose their own destiny. So I don't know. It's just a thought.
Yeah, it does seem. It's interesting that you brought up the fact of that these aren't just that. It's not. We're not just limited, and that's my fan kicking on because it's 99 degrees in here and I will die. Which there's pros and cons to that. I guess.
No, stay alive, Justin. Stay
some
alive.
people would disagree. Okay, so but I like that because we don't know for sure, but yeah, those might just be. We've seen that they've already had multiple people created. They create loopholes with them. Meaning ends, and they use them, means to an end and so forth. And as we predicted, I think all in the pre-show before this, that this is going to be a flip on it. They have found an answer in the Sublime, correct? So they're going to obviously utilize this seemingly at least one simulation, and I'm gonna subscribe to at least one simulation this season because it does actually make sense, because they're trying to do exactly what they did with the hosts in the park, because they seem to think that is the best practice to get to where they're going. I did want to bring up a few quick things. We did get a few timestamps here in a screenshot. So we had, how long did they, okay, so when he's meeting with, I apologize, is it who is it? Is it the senator at the golf course?
No, that's the vice president.
Vice president. Okay.
Yeah, the senator's at his house.
Oh, okay, so he has less power than his senator. Okay, unless he's Dick Cheney. Okay, so he says he wasn't at Emily's funeral. So let me look really quick. When did Emily die? Because I'm trying to get a exact.
That was over 7 years ago.
Season 2.
Because that was at Westworld.
8. That was 8. Was it 8 years ago?
Yeah, over 8.
Yeah,
it would
8
have
years
been
ago.
long, yeah, because there was a time jump from
Season 3 was 7 years ago. Yeah.
But you don't know when the funeral happened. If her body was recovered, it could have been years.
I mean,
later.
I doubt it was years later. They did a pretty good cleanup.
Yeah.
Season 2.
Well, let's assume, and that, I mean, Brett, fair point. That would be the exception, though. You know.
Are you trying to ask when did this all take place?
What I'm doing is establishing timelines. I'm trying every episode we get. Anytime.
Well, it had to have. I would say it had to have been before the park, because they had to get the government green light to build this park, right? So I think it's safe to assume that the Hoover Dam stuff, the stuff with the senator and the stuff with the vice president actually took place in that interim 7 years at some point, not just at the end of it. I don't think they just did those two things and then introduced everyone to the park. I think that occurred before. Okay, but
so so you're going off of, okay, so I do.
No, so here's my opinion: is they went ahead and built the park because they knew they were gonna get the green light, either
very possible
they were gonna get approval or they were gonna replace them.
That's true.
They knew they knew they were gonna make it happen.
You're right, because he did mention the mess in the West. So maybe that's what he's referring to, that you went ahead and created that mess without our. That's a very good point.
It has to be after, guys, because I'm going with and it's dying every episode, and there's only been 2 that Christina is actually the inspiration for Dolores, and that's actually before. And I strain more from that.
But you're talking about the.
Okay, no, I know what we're talking about. What I'm saying is, there's no way that what's happening on the golf course in the Hoover Dam is before Westworld. That is after. Emily is dead. Also, they talk about the massacre. There are times. So anytime I get any event, I've got the timeline right in front of me.
Oh, of course. No, that's not before Westworld, Justin. It's before the introduction of the new park.
Yeah, I was just saying, they probably already had that park built before they even tried to get permission, because they knew they were going to be able to get permission, because either they would convince them to let them do it, or they were going to kill them and replace them.
Yes, I agree with Vanessa on that.
Yeah.
But the Hoover Dam stuff, it's possible that was farther back.
That is okay. So there's no mention of anything like
But he did say 7 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. That's true.
The person that
that's true.
She died 7 years ago. So so that's not that far in the past.
Okay.
Good point.
So
and Caleb's daughter's 7.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So I just think it's important anytime
he got quick married and had a kid, didn't he? He was like, "It's over. War's over. I'm having hey, you want to get married and have a kid? Let's get a house." Okay, and I'm going to go work on a building again. No robot though.
I think so. On the golf course, I thought of this. Has anybody ever seen The Newsroom? When he's talking about, listen, you control everything, like foreign, because they built all that in the South China Sea, right? Okay, so he's saying not here, and then the Man in Black shows how much he's in control. I thought of Leona Lansing's. She is the owner of the fake news organization from The Newsroom, a fantastic series. He tells us Moses and Jesus are playing golf. Moses steps up to the tee, hits a beautiful shot 250 yards straight down the middle of the fairway. Jesus steps up to the tee, hooks the ball into the trees. Jesus looks up into heaven, raises his arms, and suddenly sky darkens. Thunderclap rings out. rain pours down, and a stream rises amongst the trees. The golf ball floating on top finds its way into the mouth of the fish. Then the birds flies down. They take the fish and the ball out over the green, drops it in the cup for the hole-in-one. Jesus turns to Moses with a satisfied grin, and Moses says, "Look, you want to play golf or you want to fuck around?" Okay, so I know it's a long-winded quote, but it was a very shocking when he said you don't have control, right? Here, he showed him that control, and because he is God there, essentially. Is what I'm getting at with the Man in Black. I thought that was a pretty cool move and a pretty cool nod to show, like, hey, he's like, you don't control shit here. He's like, hole-in-one. I mean, unless he's just been practicing the shit out of golf, but I doubt it. You know what I mean? And he does it twice. So I just thought that was a very, very interesting.
It's 3 times.
3 times.
Three
Three
times.
times.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
is he going to
Yeah.
play golf or do you just want to fuck around? Okay. So we have it established that they are infiltrating the government. So I do believe I'm with you guys. I had a slight misunderstanding. Sorry, I thought you were somebody was saying this before, but that makes sense. We don't know. We definitely could have a separate from the Hoover timeline to this timeline. Definitely wherever Christine is a different timeline as well. We could be dealing up to 4 time frames here. So we then move into Maeve and Caleb. Okay, there was another mention of his beautiful daughter. We talked about it on the last episode how she resembles Maeve's daughter. I don't know if anybody has any thoughts on this family situation. Vanessa?
I know there's probably some wild theories about all of this. I'm of the opinion that maybe he just got really close to Maeve. Maybe he even got a little crush on her. Maybe he found someone like that reminded him of her. And then, I mean, I don't want to like, I know there's theories that like, he's not real. He's a host. He's in a simulation. He did mention, I guess, I know we had talked about, or people had theorized that maybe Maeve's vision of them, like they blew up something that like jumped and he had like this, abdominal wound that looks pretty bad, and maybe he actually died and he's not even there. But he did mention like, you saved my life.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a lie. I don't know. But at this point, I'm kind of like, let's go with the simple explanation that maybe she really did save his life.
I think that's true. Occam's
Yeah.
razor.
And I feel like this is actually happening. I mean, because, we've got them going to this 20s world or whatever, and then we have host William doing this whole presentation about this new world they just started. So that makes me think that actually happened. Maybe this is a memory, but I don't know. But I feel like this is actually what's happening.
Really quick, I don't believe that it's not happening or he's a host. I think that what we may be seeing is that hosts are interacting. Maybe his family. Like I will get into it later, but I believe Dolores' roommate is a host. I believe there are hosts amongst people that they are aware of.
I think Dolores is in a simulation. I don't think that's actually happening. I think her mind is somewhere. Like Maeve last season with Sirach, like running her through the simulation with like Warworld and Lee Sizemore and all of that. That's what I feel like. That's what I feel like is happening with Dolores.
They seem to be very clear cut. Like you said, there's a whole introduction when they're entering the park. So they seem to be playing with time frames, but it is fairly clear. We're gonna go to you here in 1 minute, Brett. I did just want to bring up how I just love that Thandie Newton. She spoke out about her character, the way she was depicted last season, and I don't know, I'm loving her. So far, she is back in form, right? She is snarky, she is confident, she is badass. It's not shoved down your throat like, look at how cool I am. She is just cool. She's cool. She says all the cool things. She does all the cool things. She's awesome. I think that she's back to form. She's back to season 1, Maeve, and she hasn't lost her motivations. They didn't have to kill the character to bring back the joy. We'll go ahead and we got a little bit mixed around here on my screen, but it still goes to you, Brett.
Yeah, I really like Maeve too so far this season. She's the old Maeve, but she's in a new environment, interacting with different characters, not the same old characters, and a total badass. I thought it was interesting how they talked about what happened at the lighthouse, and then know actually what happened after the lighthouse. I still think there's a chance, now this is my crazy theory, that when maybe she didn't save his life, she just saved him by making a copy of herself, and he's continuing on as a host. Maybe he doesn't even know he's a host, but he's actually like a Maeve host copy. So that's just one crazy theory I've had. But I will tell you, the scene at the senator's house where he dislocated his shoulder and she had to pop it back almost made me feel like, oh, he's definitely human, because that hurts so bad, and that's what you would do.
I was gonna say, like, he was definitely at a very big disadvantage during that fight. So if he was a host,
well, and they are programmed to feel. I don't believe he's a host, and I love how Maeve rolled her eyes, because Maeve has killed herself so many times. Like, she's like, get a little tougher, guy. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I thought that was great.
Yeah, that fight was a little. Needed a little more work in the blocking and the staging of that fight.
The pistol shot through the stomach shot that guy back like a shotgun blast. I was a little bit weirded out by that. You see how far he flew from the bullet?
Yeah,
that went
I don't know.
through.
I don't know a lot about.
The bullet went straight through him, and then he.
Okay.
Went. So, I mean, I just know a little bit about how physics work. I mean, I don't know. I'll have somebody shoot me in the stomach. Let's see how far I go. We'll get conclusion next week. That's how we do it, people. I'm willing to go. I'm an investigative journalist here. All right.
YouTube.
Yeah. Nobody shoot me, please. Don't. Okay.
But I mean, I'll just say that I could see it either way, as they like to do. They're going to leave it open. He could be human or a host, I feel like, still at this point. But as far as his daughter goes, it is also possible that's not his biological daughter. You know, that would make sense if he, you know, adopted. They got married 5 years ago instead of 7, you know, and that timeline could still work. So I'm not, you know, I don't really have much more to say other than I think that that's also possible.
Yeah. And what's the difference anyways, right? I mean, love is love. Maeve has embraced the shadows before. Exactly. I believe Heidi?
Well, I love Maeve. And by the way, she looks amazing in that black dress, I just have to point out. And Caleb looks great in a tuxedo as well. I thought they looked great across the board. And I'm really excited to see what's going to happen in the Golden Age world, 20s world. Justin, what were you calling
world.
Gangster world?
I thought it was Mafia World. Vanessa
Mafia
said,
World?
But no, I guess it's Temperance
I
World.
thought I saw it referenced as Temperance World. I don't know, but I don't know. The next episode is titled "An Full," which is like crazy years, literally, but it's basically the.
Oh, okay.
The gay 20s.
Yeah, the gay 20s. Yeah. I have to say, so I'm kind of really feeling like the Maeve Caleb storyline is really happening. I kind of like definitely Christina, her storyline seems to be possibly, you know, likely a simulation, but I really do feel what's happening with Maeve and Caleb is really happening, kind of what Vanessa said. So I'm on that.
It takes away too many stakes if it's not. You have to have real things happening. This is where I get so frustrated last season. Is everything meant nothing. It turns into Dallas at the end of the day.
I feel like Lisa Joy and Jonah Nolan, maybe they don't always take into account what people say about the show. And I don't want them to dumb things down at all. But I also feel like maybe they're not going to just go too far out crazy with it, because there have been so many complaints about, like, it's so confusing and like we have no idea what's going on. And, like, there's too many, like, you know, I feel like maybe they'll try and simplify it a little bit. But I could be completely off base. But I think
sometimes you need to take things that you sometimes can take things at face value. Like
I think there needs to be some, you know, some ability to take it at face value, and then you do also have some of the crazy far out there stuff. But I can't all be like that. I can't, like, everything can't be, oh, none of this is real and this is all just simulations and none of this is actually happening. I mean, there's got to be some real stakes and real things happening at some point.
I
think
just wanted to say one more thing about Maeve that Jack pointed out to me while we were watching the show. Like, she's like, she loves drinking. And he was saying, I wonder why she's doing that. And I said, I think she's kept all of the things that she really enjoys as a host. Like, she's sort of, taken, eschewed the things that she's not crazy about, but the things that she really loves, like drinking, I think she actually enjoys it.
Well, she hasn't
The
changed.
Sherry's from the Mariposa. Like,
she might be living out as a host, like she's aware, but she still has the same sensory, the same likes, and I wanted to inject this and put it to the panel because when we're talking about things being simulations and all this, like season 1 had different time frames, but everything you could still take at face value, and it only amplified the story. It only made it better. You can have different time frames without making things meaningless, meaning something can be a simulation, because we have to assume that what we're seeing here is a building of whatever Bernard is, because Bernard's, he's got the dust on him. It's already settled on him. And he says he's got the answer in Sublime. So whatever they're trying to work out, they're definitely running some sort of a forge, and Brett will probably get into this in a minute. There's definitely an aspect like that. So we're seeing a playing out of a Dr. Ford-esque plan to an extent. The one thing I wanted to bring up really quick is when we're with Christina or Christine, we see somebody says the music we can't hear is killing us, and there is this it's this composer John Cage, and it's called the 433, and it's silence. Okay, it's I believe it's 3 minutes of silence, and it is meant to use everything is music, everything environment is music, and it's meant to give you a deeper perspective about it. It's a very Eastern take there for Westerners. I'm going to link this below, but this kind of chimes back to Westworld's roots, which is immersive theater. That's where they got a lot of these ideas, doing plays in New York and LA, like Evan Rachel Wood did a lot of these, where you'd go and you interact. I don't know if anybody's ever been to one, but you interact with the people in the play. Like, you go throughout, and like you might be experiencing Hamlet or a Shakespeare play, and you're going through different levels of warehouse, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes it's at a bar, and they're doing stuff like that. But this 433, let me link it. It's very interesting because it talks about the shadows, and it talks about a lot of things the bicameral mind speaks about, which the bicameral mind is it's a dead theory, but it's a theory Westworld has chosen to use to explain sentient life. Okay. And if you read the bicameral mind, they talk a lot about what do deaf people hear. This is kind of that idea. I'm not smart enough to understand it all, so I will link it and say it's an interesting take, and it came up recently. Been learning to play the piano, so I was just aware of it. I was like, oh my god, that's kind of it. So maybe it's a connection I just made, maybe it's not, but it's definitely applicable. And we'll go to Brett for
what
whatever.
Was the question?
There is no question. Just I want you to talk about, because you're the simulation guy, and I just want to hear what you think. What is a simulation? What is not?
I feel like the only simulation I'm seeing so far is Christina. I even feel like in the first episode, when the very first time we saw her in her cubicle, there was a shot where they were showing the characters, and it panned to the left, and you were looking out the window, and you could see the skyscrapers were all like pixelated, like moving pixels. So maybe that's how windows are in her world, but I thought that was kind of a giveaway that she actually was in a simulation. So that's been my assumption ever since. And it was furthered this episode with the whole time thing, with the way Peter died 3 days ago, but he actually died a year ago, or however long it took to build that wing. But as far as the other timelines go, I would say Maeve and Caleb are like the current post 7 years. The Hoover Dam scene, he made a comment that it was 7 years since she took my data. So I think those link up. I think maybe the golf course could have been earlier, as was mentioned. That could be pre New Westworld Park. But I don't think there has to be a ton of different timelines going on right now.
Yeah.
So I'm just assuming there's the main timeline, there's a simulation, and maybe there's kind of flashbacks.
And then Bernard in the future, which we'll probably get next episode, I think. So there'll be 3 main.
Well, I don't know if anyone saw the preview.
No, I haven't watched it.
Enlighten us.
Didn't show.
So I did see the preview. So they do show him when he's all like dusty with thing on.
Oh,
and then they show him in Stubbs. And Stubbs makes some like funny comment about like I can't remember exactly what he says. Something about like hanging outside a diner to save the world. I don't remember exactly, but so I don't think that I think a lot of people were thinking like, oh my gosh, that's like way, way, way far in the future. I don't think it's as far as in the future as people anticipated. Like, I think maybe that lines up with the 7-8 year period.
Yeah.
I think
that's very possible.
You could probably get covered with plenty of dust in this.
Definitely.
But also there could be a difference because they did say that's the farthest we see into the future. But okay, but we also what we see this season doesn't have to start at the point that we saw with the Stinger at the end of season 3, if that makes sense, right? We could see them interacting within as well. So like we don't have that. We know that's a point they'll get to.
And it, in the end,
But I'm saying like that they did show that scene in the preview for next episode.
I forgot that
apparently,
you saw it. I'm like, no, this is what happened, but I didn't see it.
So the preview showed that scene. So I'm assuming that's going to be resolved next episode.
I endorse that.
And my personal feeling is that it's within that 7 to 8 year time frame, and then it's not as far in the future as people are thinking.
I gotta say, Vanessa, I didn't watch it, so I just I agree. Yeah,
that makes sense. Like if a maid never came in and cleaned that room.
Well, that's the question I have. I mean, they guess they had the do not disturb sign, and they just never questioned it for like 7, 8 years.
Weird
stuff. They're like, we're doing weird stuff in here. Like I'm doing like weird.
Maybe he paid for it for 7 years.
You don't have to clean the room. It's not
they had the revolution going on.
That's true.
Who knows? Maybe they just were distracted and they were
the maid union fell apart.
I was going to say about the golf course, I still think it's fairly close to the timeline we're dealing with because
definitely
the man in black went back, got Clementine somewhere. He found her somewhere, maybe in South America, and brought her back, and they did the fly thing on her, I suppose. And
when I was saying that was in the interim, I didn't mean it had to be like a year ago. I just meant that they were just kind of accelerating time a little bit with those scenes. I don't think he got on one plane, got off it, did the senator, then he got on another one, went to the I think that what we were seeing was maybe a couple months before, a little bit like leading up to it. When someone says 7 years, they mean, and then 8 years, it's like, you say someone's this old and they're just about to turn a new age. They're really older, right? So I think I agree with that. And I think that is the real world with Maeve and Caleb too.
I do think it's weird that the man in black was wearing his man in black outfit.
No, on golf, that was a badass outfit.
The golf outfit was awful.
I really liked it. No,
I hated it.
I know I would look like shit in it.
I'm like, can you imagine? Well, he's a host, but can you imagine?
He's a host. Like, he's not gonna be. Yeah, he's not gonna get hot.
No, he's a host. So,
but I like that they like tied that in. But I will I just wanted to address something really quick. Sorry. You had mentioned like doing the fly thing on Clementine. She's a host, so I don't think that is necessary. I think the fly thing is only for humans. Yeah. So I think he just like programmed her or whatever.
Well, he shot her, right? He disabled her, and then they just
reprogrammed her.
He said sorry for dropping in. He had a catchphrase. I was like, oh, douchebag. You know what I mean? But that outfit, we got to do something. Or you got to do something on it, Heidi. Do you think I could? In North Carolina, I'm bad at golf too, so it'll make it worse. Like, who is that guy wearing an all leather, like cowboy hat and all that? Like
he was wearing like kind of like a glazed black like Homburg or fedora. So cool. It was so crazy. I was like, oh my god, that hat! It looked like. It was straw, but it was like a glazed. No, I thought it was
perfect. Like that.
You like it? Vanessa?
No, it totally suited him. You're totally right.
It totally suited him.
Yeah,
it, really
it was just like, but the average person wearing something like that to golf.
That should be like a huge red flag. Like,
So if a guy walked up wearing that, you'd be like, no.
No normal human would be in.
No, because Ed Harris is not a dreamboat by any means.
Well, I was saying to Jack, it's funny because we watched the Truman Show recently, and I was like, wow, Ed Harris is really showing has not aged well. He just like his skin is like he looks like he's been in the sun a lot.
He's been 60 since he was 20. That's what I'm saying. So I'm thinking maybe I could pull it off. But anyways, let's get past it. I'm gonna see Amazon if they got anything for me.
But everyone was talking about Clementine's pretty yellow dress, and I have to agree, it was she looks so beautiful.
I like
in
that scenery
scene.
too.
Yeah, and she looked like the whole setting, and I was almost like, is this a park? Is this like, is she really, living in the real
I
world?
saw like the back of her. I was like, oh my god, that's got to be Clementine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where is she? What are we doing? Oh, that was great. I was glad to see her come back. I hate that.
Yeah, me
she's
too.
Now under the spell or whatever of.
And then her other outfit was kind of like she looked kind of like 1950s, 1960s, very slim. And then she had that really cool updo.
For the secretary part?
Yes, I loved it. But the deadly secretary.
Can we talk about the,
yes.
She's wearing the gray. And then, was it Maya? Christina's roommate was wearing gray.
She's a host. I'm calling it my.
Oh no,
yeah,
she had the white. So she had the white in the last episode, and then she had the black on later on, and now she's in gray.
And every time that Christine brings up something, she justifies it. She's like, "It's cool." Christine's like, "A helicopter came through the window, and men in commando suits." She's like, "It was a Thursday though, and it was a full." You know what I mean? Like I think that she's like, we got some
guide.
I think that she's
like
she's like molding, making sure she's an insider. I think that makes sense. I love those.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I love when they go to the office and they're like, they get clearance, to see people all the time. She's like, I'll ask you one more time. I've never seen a secretary talking about appointments in such a fucking badass way. Do you have an
She's like a fembot in that, because I was thinking about when we were talking about Future World, I was thinking about, did anybody ever watch The Bionic Woman and the fembots, and then their faces would come off? That's what she's like. She's like a fembot.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like Austin Powers.
Austin Powers, the fembots and Austin Powers are a play on The Bionic Woman. So that's how old I am, Vanessa.
I remember
Tim Fitzwater in the chat, who did our outro.
But Alicia will know what I'm talking about.
And he will be a guest next week. Actually, a buddy of mine he's on the TikTok. A Man in Black is a stud. Gosh. He's gonna try. Don't you? Oh my gosh, I gotta get into it too. But anyways, we've all
ticking the talk.
Listen, bend the knee. All right,
I'm an old man, Justin. I don't have time for the talking of the ticking.
I don't care for it either.
Oh, I was gonna say also the actor who plays the senator is from. He's a great actor. He's from Heroes. Did you guys ever watch that show? Heroes.
Yes. Yeah.
It's if he wore glasses.
Yeah, so it's hard to when people put on glasses, I get confused.
But. Oh yeah, exactly. You're right. He was the cheerleader's. He was the cheerleader's father, right?
He was the cheerleader's father. Exactly.
Yeah,
I was like,
I hit
Jack, and I'm like, it's the cheerleader's father.
Hey, can I ask a question? It seems like I think Brett and Vanessa think that Christina is in some sort of simulation. I'm willing to buy that. I think she might be in that park too, just like a different part of it. But if she is in a simulation, who put her there? Is it like the Maeve thing last year? Are they trying to extract the info from her? What are you thinking there?
I feel like she's there because they're trying to get. They assume that she has. So William or Charlotte, Dolores, whatever you want to call her. They think she has the encryption key to the Valley Beyond. So I feel like this is some way to like get that information from her.
Okay.
I'm not sure why.
I dig it.
Why does she have to be a completely different person? I don't know.
You know what? That would make sense because I think it was last week on this podcast, I think it was Justin, or maybe it was on ours, maybe it was Andy, said that she seems to have like Maeve-like powers where she can control, like at one point she goes, just walk away. And then the people just walk away.
I disagree with that.
Right? Like she can not only write what is happening or knows what happened already, she's like either recognizing the loop or she can exert some kind of power over it, would that speak to the power of like her being the original build of being Dolores is what I'm asking.
Okay, so let me
either
field
way.
this really
Either way.
really quick. Okay, so this is my take on Christine, and this is what I'm really hoping for. Okay, so Christine has
Well,
power
what did
that
you
she-
think about what I asked you though, Justin?
okay,
Do you
well-
think that her being the original
This is not
Dolores.
The original Dolores. Well, if she is a host, which this is definitely a host, because they have been very, very, stern on saying that this is not Dolores. But Dolores being the original host is the mother, just like we talked about in podcasts before. You have DNA, so there's always going to be a little bit of that, right? Like that goes into you. But this is a different person, and there are these cues that are coming in. There is cyclic behaviors that are happening as well. My take on it is that she has a lot of power that she's wielding because she is working for a compartmentalized company. They are using her NPC dialogue for games, yes, but if you write for a publisher, Vanessa can attest, they can use your work for it. They own it, so they can use it for whatever. They don't need to tell her, and definitely a sensitive person like Christine seems to be. So my hope, because this is what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, if we just have not Dolores remembering who she is again, I don't really know what that's worth, but I do love the idea of us seeing a timeline where we're looking at a competing pre-Delos launch park, like tech company that is trying to do the same thing. And they are working on a project, and that is what Christine is. This is the inspiration.
You think she's the original Dolores?
I think she is the original. Now, listen, it keeps falling apart, and it fell apart a lot because there's
I
things
like
she can't,
this idea.
There's a lot of things that
I really
are falling
like this
apart.
idea.
She can't see certain things. That's worrisome to me. She seems
And
to be
who's the CEO of Olympiad Games? Is it Arnold or Ford?
So no, it's none of them. I think it's a competing company, but they're in the same business, so like that's why they would have put her there. Teddy, that we've seen Teddy once. He is whatever his name is, and he's looking and protecting Dolores. So they take the only behaviors that they saw out of these people. It's a reach, but here's what I'm saying: you would learn more about Dolores in this end of the story. Listen. You would, because you would learn.
What's the point,
origin.
though?
That's the point. What's the point of Dolores finding she's Dolores again? What is the point?
Here's my issue with this. Okay, so the technology that we see with this Christina and all that, like
far more advanced than others. I see all these.
If she's the inspiration, like that was a long time ago. That was like what? Mm-hmm. At the point that we are in now, that would have been like
good point.
40-something years ago.
No,
well,
no,
maybe
it would have been about 30, and it would have been.
No, it was 35 from the time of like season 1 to when she was created.
Yeah, because
what about
it cured all
Maeve
disease.
And now we're even farther past that.
But Maeve and Caleb's
Vanessa's
world
right.
is
remember Ford's parents? They were dressed like they were not dressed in futuristic outfits. Like he was
what
old.
Is old is new again. But
and here's the other thing. So
she's right.
when the guy comes after her initially, and then someone comes out of the shadows and like attacks him, and like saves her from being killed by this Peter Myers dude. They disappear.
And the light comes on just like it does in season 1. We talk. Yep.
So if that's just the real world, like how?
I know.
Okay,
Vanessa.
But how about this though? Hey, can I speak to a compromise here, which I think we might be missing, which is that both of those ideas in a sense are correct, in that this is a simulation. They're using this build of Dolores basically to get this information, but the story she is kind of playing out comes from the Ford Arnold pantheon, because that affects her at the base level, her original builder, which is Arnold. So that kind of that's all that could possibly, there's echoes of the same story.
So here's my theory, and I go along with what you're saying. So maybe maybe this person is the inspiration, but this is a simulation, and it's more modern than the original.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Could we?
But
sorry.
I still feel like it's a simulation. I don't feel like this is real world at all. And who knows why? Like maybe it's to get the key. Maybe there's some other reason for it. But
it's like beta testing too. Like I because it died a lot this episode, Vanessa. I agree with you guys. Like, but I will say about the technology, this isn't the further, because I'm kind of just pushing that theory off. I'm thinking it's off the cliff. It's done. But I am gonna, but to be, because
killed it.
I'm being reasonable. Okay, but here's the thing: the technology with Caleb and Maeve's situation is very less. Like, wow, that was a bad sentence. Okay, it was very less. Okay, but it seems much older. Everything seems much older until we get to where they go into the park. But so I think they're kind of deceiving us.
Also,
they're in the sticks. They
had this revolution, and they got rid of Rehoboam. They got rid of the robots, so they kind of have like regressed a little bit technologically.
Yeah. But it doesn't need to be a simulation.
The phones are the same.
It's a little bit like Dune, you know, like they had this battle with the robots and everything, and then they kind of regressed technology-wise.
Yeah, it's like retrofuturism.
Yeah. Whereas in Christina's simulation, everything is still modern there, right?
Let's not say. Okay, so
and it's still, they did not mention the revolution this episode either.
Yes, so that's important. What is mentioned in one? And now let me say, there is a screenshot when she's talking to her boss saying she's sick, and he's like, "You're on a train," and she's like, "Well, I'm sick of coming to work," but blah blah blah. So I got some screen.
Relatable.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what? How do you know?
Damn, you caught my lie.
Yeah,
and where was she? She was in New Jersey. I was like, hell yeah, baby.
Oh god, so she's about to have a terrible time. Probably gonna
Jersey.
something.
Get out of here. That's the best state in the country.
Yeah, okay, just be careful. Anyways, so the
have you been to New Jersey?
Yeah, the free health clinics are very populated. But anyways, so
you're terrible. That's where
I'm not terrible. Okay, statistics, math.
Jersey is awesome.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's great. It's great. I love it. Anyways, I'm from Detroit, by the way, so great for me.
I know.
Anyways, so we see the screen, and I had the stupid HBO keeps blocking me and stomping on my game and not letting me take pictures, so I had to take pictures. But okay, so it does say when he's anytime you get a screen in Westworld, and I kind of hate Reddit for this reason, but you got to pay attention. You get a screen. You analyze that for months, and you make things that will never come true. Brett is one of the smartest guys I know, and he makes some of the best theories and all that. And some of them do come true, by the way. I give you a lot of credit. But Brett, I want to get your thoughts on this. We do see it says live build for her it says her employee profile. It says where she works, and then it says live build, and then it has a tracker. And I enhance, like I said, enhance, which makes things more blurry. But yeah, all you could get, so any of the information below that, it's like enhance. Okay.
I discovered nothing.
Pixels, more pixels, sir. Enhance again, more pixels, sir. More. Yeah, but anyways, you get what I mean. So I think that she doesn't need to be in a simulation. She could just be in a location, a park, which I guess it's pretty much the same thing. I guess we're just tossing around like a football. But anyways, I want to get your take on that, Brett. That trust me, I'll send you the picture. It says live build. My doctor's notes on me say a lot of things. They don't see live build. They say dick. They say not cool, not all that healthy. They say a lot of things. They don't say live build.
I would want to see that screenshot because
fine.
Where's the evidence?
What do you mean? Where's the evidence? Like, what do you think? I'm okay. Fine. On my own show.
The only thing I'll say about it, like being an actual like a park rather than a simulation, is the fact that the two guys just like disappears. They disappear.
Yeah,
and
it's
we
just
saw that
like
happen in Westworld, though.
It's the same ring light,
yeah,
Vanessa.
when she's like
time
going through her memories or whatever. But this isn't. To me, if this is actually Dolores, this is not her going through memories, because she's a completely different person now.
Well, I got a totally different idea.
I don't know.
Oh, let's hear it.
Go ahead, Brett. When I'm pulling up your evidence that you demanded like a dick. All right.
Damn.
Live build, that would make sense. I believe it's a simulation, and the reason that you see those people walk away as soon as she wills them away is because she's the architect of this simulation. Because I believe she's actually in potentially Solomon's mirror world, where all of these people are real world people running a simulation of the real world. But because Solomon is connected to all of these outlier pods, there are additional people in the simulation that are not in the real world. Those outliers are the non-playable characters. So as the architect of this mirror world, she can control the non-player characters, whereas all of the real people in the real world in this simulation, they are their own players.
Oh, that's really good.
To rehabilitate the outliers that from last season, like Sirach's brother.
Yeah, rehabilitate maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yeah, Sirach wanted, for some reason, he didn't want to kill them, so he put them in these pods and he plugged them into the simulation so that they can feel like they're living in the real world, but they still don't have control over their own free will. They're still.
This is an interesting idea, Brett.
She's like she's like Wanda. She's
Now the
controlling
end game. Yeah.
the simulation.
Now, the end game of this is maybe she can help save the world by freeing these outliers if she's able to wake up and realize what's going on and potentially control the simulation or control Solomon from inside the simulation the same way that Maeve was able to control things outside her simulation last season from inside the simulation. So the end game could be, and I'm not sure what that looks like, but it could be very important, but it could be completely separated from William and Dolores. They could have no idea what this is.
Brett, you know what? I like that idea, and because as you talked about when Maeve and Caleb are talking about what happened at the lighthouse and after, and then she says, "What do you mean after?" I'm sorry, my son just popped his head in. She says, "What do you mean after?" We went back to our. He was talking about something other than that. That's not. I don't think that's what he was talking about. And we did see them blow up something that looked like another version of Rehoboam, and we had been talking about on the Facebook page. It could be Saul or David, another version that was there. It's quite possible that there's another version. And that you'd think that they did talk about this last season, that there is a mirror world, and that's how Rehoboam was making decisions and predicting what people would do. A virtual world. That is mentioned last season. I went back and watched in the interim. And it's possible that in that world there is a Dolores. She was so vital to Westworld. She's the original.
Yeah, but the pearls are destroyed, so it's done.
But wait, hold on. What I'm saying is that the whole time there was another copy of Dolores inside that world. And could Maeve and be trying to somehow extract her to help them? I'm just following it through. I'm not saying I totally believe it, but to just as a contradictory to it being Dolores and William who are doing this to extract the key, it's actually her existing in some other virtual world. And maybe it's in disorder. That's why we're seeing these things happen, where she can affect things because it's been disconnected from the outside world. It's like running on its own loop over and over. So things are happening again and again. That guy keeps on killing himself and donating the money. It keeps on happening again and again. And she is the one picking up on this because there's no new information coming in. It's running in the simulation.
Okay, and I'll just say that I don't disagree because you live as long as the last person that remembers you. Same way Bernard could have been recreated. So I'm with you, Axel. I just mean another Pearl seems to be so... That is just that's bad storytelling right there.
Dolores? Another Pearl for Dolores?
That would be ridiculous.
Well, there were already existing ones that could have been repurposed.
No, but they made a big point to only have 5 and to get rid of those 5 and explain those 5 away.
One of the 5 was Bernard. So there were 4 Dolores pearls.
They did a whole tour.
One is in Charlotte. And then there was Musashi. And there was Connell.
Charlotte Musashi. Connells.
Charlotte Musashi Connells.
Lawrence.
We don't know where he is.
Yeah.
Yep. He's at like a David.
So they could have taken any one of those to be running through the simulation.
All I want to say is, Vanessa, I'm not saying they did it well, but they went on a whole speaking tour.
So then what is she then? You're right, Vanessa. So then what point would it be for Dolores and William to do it either?
Okay,
Justin's
You know
talking
what I
about the
mean?
showrunners.
okay, they got rid of the pearls. There's no pearl left that they can snatch and put in her. But you can build people like they built Bernard. All right, I'm not saying that you can account for him because Andrew
Right.
was paying too.
Yeah.
That's why I made the joke. I said, Andrew, stop paying so much attention. The writers are gonna message you and be like, shut up, because like I didn't think they did that great of a job. That's why they did a speaking tour after season 2 to be like, so actually, dummies, this is what it's like. No, you guys kind of like, or after season 3, you know, you dropped the ball on a few things. But you can. Bernard was built without a pearl. He was built off memories.
Memories,
yeah. So
right.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
A pearl popping up, I think, is a moot conversation.
No, but I don't. You brought up a pearl. I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's a.
I never brought it up. You
I'm
did.
saying that there are existing pearls of Dolores.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying what I'm saying is it would just be information, pearl or no pearl.
Right.
She existing in a virtual world, she would become autonomous. So she is an AI, right? She is a program. But she exists in this Rehoboam, this Saul or this David, because she existed in Westworld. She is key to the building of consciousness.
And she has all of the
She's
same.
the
She's got that
original.
painting that she paints if nobody picks
Yeah.
up her. But I agree that all these things
Yeah.
are cyclic and all that. But what I'm saying is that I don't. The idea that they're just trying to get. I think that they could be putting her in a situation to try to get her to think because nobody knows that she hid the information inside of Bernard, right? Because that's where she hid the key.
Right, exactly.
So I get, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I just, the pearl thing,
Can I bring
don't
up
like.
something that I thought about, which may make no sense and may have no relevance whatsoever, but something that I just popped into my head because of her name, Christina, and she's a painter. It was Christina's World and the Andrew Way painting.
I
Yeah.
brought that.
That has like really, I don't know how that relates to any of this.
Well, she's alone because think about that painting. She exists alone in the
it's
world.
Christina's World. It's Christina's
Yeah.
And it's
world.
built off of two
Exactly.
different people. The one woman has polio. Andrew Wyatt painted that off the neighbor that had polio. The legs did not work for the neighbor,
Yeah,
and
she
then
crawled everywhere.
and
Yeah.
the arms are his wife's arms, right? So it's a hybrid of two different people
Yep.
trying to get back home. No, that's true though.
I
I
was
like it.
gonna tell
I
you-
like this.
It
I'm
is
laughing because I
true.
like
It is
it.
true.
Actually, I was going to tell
This
you
is
guys
cool.
something that when I was doing research on season 1 of Westworld, Jonathan Nolan did say that he took inspiration from the painting Christina's World for Dolores.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay.
actually
That's
you've
perfect
totally
then.
hit
I
the
did a
nail on
whole
the head.
video. No, I did a whole video on this like 3 years
Oh,
ago.
you did?
That's
Okay.
good stuff.
Oh, I
That's like
didn't
the-
see it.
the-
Couldn't see it.
Yeah, like so the actual like the look of her and everything like that. He sort of was inspired by him and
Well,
Lisa
then
Joy.
that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
She's
With
always
the
trying to
name
get
and
back
everything.
home.
And is she a redhead in that too?
She's a-
Darker
Someone was
hair.
asking, like,
yeah, she's got
Ginger
darker hair.
power.
Sure.
Someone was saying that like her color. Oh, I don't know. Look, she looks like a brunette, but the color of her hair must be significant in some way.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's always trying to
someone
get
just
back
said that in the
home.
chat.
She's always trying to get back home, but and it's a hybrid, so that's what makes sense of. That's why I kind of wanted the narrative, and I know it's off the cliff of meeting the inspiration for her because that would be the arms in the painting, that would be the upper body, that would be the hybrid because that painting is a mix of people. So I thought that would be a beautiful sentiment. But that and then Eyes something, another one of immersive plays. But yeah, I did a whole video back on that when I was making videos like 4 years ago. Definitely.
That's cool. I
Not
didn't know
irrelevant
that. I
at
did not
all.
know that.
It is cited. Yeah, that was one of the Vanessa when the show first came out. Like that was like one of the big like they gave all their inspirations. It's definitely you're right.
I think I do remember that, but I mean it's just something that like is.
One of the
Stuck out
things
to
I
me.
was thinking about in terms of the color, someone was asking about the significance of the color. And I tweeted this week that her outfit's blue, but they color corrected it to teal, and teal and orange are sort of like the colors that they use right now in cinema. It's sort of the hot thing. So I thought they might have just done that as a cool looking, nice contrast. The
It
teal
looked
and
like she was wearing black this episode, but then when
She
she went
was wearing
outside,
black,
it looks blue, like a really.
She is
dark
wearing
blue.
black, but her coat is that sort of teal
Yeah.
blue. So in the first episode,
Interesting.
it's teal, and then of course as you mentioned, her roommate has white, like a host,
Yeah, but now she's in gray, so it's
and now she's in gray. Yeah,
Mhm.
and then Clementine was in yellow, which was really interesting. But I
And
was
then she's in
thinking,
gray.
yeah, But they
so
did
true.
show like when she was walking through, someone handed her a sunflower, and so it was sort of like a sunflower yell. I think it was just like a beautiful, like just showing her in a happy moment, and then it was
That
all
was the
kind of
good
like
And now she can't be.
and then the rug was just sort of pulled out from underneath her. So
Yeah, and
I'm just
pulling up
wondering.
pictures.
So, is there a connection between Clementine and Gray and being controlled by William, Dolores, whatever?
Yeah,
and then
that's a
just
very
Maya
interesting
and
thing.
Gray being
Yeah, 'cause I
controlled
was
by
saying-
somebody.
in the when you weren't here last week, but I was mentioning that Clementine's color is actually like a teal blue. That's her color. So Maeve is wearing black and then a little bit of that sort of mulberry color, which is her like saloon color. And then Clementine's is sort of a blue teal color. So yeah, I think it's just sort of showing that she doesn't have any free will. Like she's under the control of somebody else. I don't know what you guys think.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm pulling up some pics too to put so if you guys
I just want to say, like, I'm a guest on this panel. I'm on the panel, but I just love everything you guys are saying. Like, it's just you guys blow me away.
well,
All right.
Can we talk quickly about the black goo that's
that
like,
comes out of
coming
Anastasia's
out
head.
of her head? And then so I know not everyone saw the preview for next week, but there's like jars of black goo with drone, like there's drone hosts and labs, and they have the jars of black goo.
Primordial ooze.
Nanobots.
So yes, exactly. That's my thinking. It's like some kind of nanotech that they're injecting
Nanobot gel.
into humans to make them go crazy.
And the flies can make it. It turns their
Yeah,
brain
that's
into
what
like
I'm
a
thinking. Like,
computer.
they're
Yes.
The flies are like the carriers of this.
Yep.
Ooze.
Yep. I like that. There and it's
So
that's
the hosts
how.
are like the hosts have the white goo, and then the humans with the flies.
Well,
black
think
goo.
about it. If you were going to take over their brain, right? Because we saw the Hoover Dam. That's why I was thinking that a little bit of the time frame, because in the Hoover Dam guy, they seem to have a good grasp on what the flies could do, right? But they seem to be experimenting on it with the woman, with the senator's wife. So the main goal of that would be to be able to successfully take over a human without any other human knowing it. So you wouldn't want them blood or gunk or shit coming out of their face or them acting crazy. You would want to be able to control them with words like, you can rest now, and things like that. So that's why I was kind of thinking that there was some sort of progress to their experimentation within these scenes. But I think that the main goal would be, like I said, to be able to seamlessly control a human as the hosts were seamlessly controlled.
Yeah.
Maybe even with the Wi-Fi too, like the hosts have. Like Maeve can hook into the senator's thoughts like she did with Dolores.
Which she had issues with. She said
without hooking in though. There was no hardwire there.
It was an upgrade or something.
Yeah, like a firmware upgrade.
That's interesting, right? But she was able to do it Wi-Fi like, because we know they have a whisper net from the first season, but now Maeve has this ability
the mesh
to.
Network.
Yeah, the mesh network,
it's like
right?
Control Alt C. It's like Control Alt. And sorry guys for the OBS tutorial that's on the screen right now. Me messing.
I love it. I love it. It's like watching Tetris.
Oh, hey, can I say something?
Justin's trying to, I
got some pictures for you.
I want to see it. Oh, when I was taking a pee before, not to be TMI, but I was thinking. We were talking, and I don't want to throw it back because I like this fly thing, but we were talking about where Christina is, and some people said maybe, like I think Brett had said, I said maybe it's a park, right? She's at the park somehow. I even took a picture of, and it's definitely like New York looking when they look out the train window, Maeve and Caleb. Right? And I was like, oh, that confirms. But then later it turned out to be a different park. But maybe she's in a park in a simulation. Like she's in the park. But the whole thing is a simulation taking place, like, and then we'll see them like controlling it, but it's still all a simulation.
I think
but that's just
jives.
like
that jives.
I mean, because they're crazy on this show. Like it's a double FU. It's like no, it's not a new park. It's a simulation of a park.
There were people in it that sounded like they were in a park. Like
yes, in the first episode.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's
but that could be her brain. I don't know.
But you could also enter the park in a
this
simulation. It's VR, right? You could also enter it in like that.
I like it,
There's
Justin.
Maeve's great dress, by the way.
Yeah,
if you go down again.
I'm trying to
Her hot dress. Someone said they loved her gold armband.
Yeah, she.
I did. I love that. It was very like.
I had another crazy
I don't know.
idea that I had remembered. I'm sorry, I'm just throwing shit at the wall at this point, but
No, do it.
So
perhaps Caleb's. Okay, get this one, because I was thinking about how all the loved people from Westworld went into the Sublime, the Great Beyond, right, to be protected. And then I was kind of thinking of this idea: is Christina like an early like copy of Dolores that Ford put there to protect her, knowing that he was going to send her on this journey? Because let's not forget, as Brett always reminds us, her plan was like Ford sent her on this plan in a sense, right? So could it also be that somehow Caleb's daughter and wife are hosts that Maeve made because she got her daughter from Bernard or something in the meantime and put her in that kid to protect her? Like took her out of there, or whatever memory she had, put her in there. Because I just keep on going back to that daughter. It was just weird. All just that whole family dynamic was strange. It seemed like he was living apart from them in some sense. But I don't know. I'm just throwing shit at the wall at this point.
No, yeah, and I'm Googling live, so like that's such a dangerous thing.
Well, that's why that's why I think he might be a Maeve copy.
Okay.
He's
That's
living out
interesting.
one of
Yeah,
Maeve.
like a young Maeve.
Like even maybe she's protecting
She looks
herself, Brett,
She looks
right?
so much like Maeve. I mean, that was one thing I thought.
Oh, that's
when I saw
interesting.
her.
She like Maeve learned from Dolores. I've got to protect who I am. I've got to copy myself and stash a copy with this dude. But I don't know. I still think there could be something fishy to Vanessa. I have to say, I may disagree that Caleb being a host or something happening after. I still think that there was a little bit of hint in the dialogue. Like, why write it that way? Where he says, what happened after? And she says, we lived our own lives. And they kind of get interrupted.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like yes,
You know?
there's something that we are not privy to yet.
Okay.
But I will say I hate the idea of him being a host or this being a simulation.
Why did Maeve have to save him if it's a host?
Yeah, I like I just feel like there has to be some kind of human state still, like some human that we can relate to, that we care
that's
about.
a good point.
That's why we get along, Vanessa. Like,
I don't know.
Yeah, the story has
like
to
the
mean something.
robots.
Call me crazy.
I like them too, but I want there to be some good human still that we want to root for. Like,
Okay.
That's an interesting point. You know what? I never even considered that because I'm always rooting for the whole cast to be hosts.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, and
can't
we're going to
tell that.
segue to the end here, and we're going to say goodbye to Vanessa really quick, and thank you for so much for coming on. But Hitchcock
Thank you so much, Vanessa.
Yeah, you're great. Great
love
ideas. Thank you,
being here.
Vanessa.
But before she leaves,
awesome.
to speak to the sentiment, because I completely agree with you, Hitchcock, talked about the conversation where there's a bomb under the table. What do you do, right? What is oh, that's on the screen. Okay. Ooh, you guys saw behind. You saw the Sausage Factory. All right. So anyway,
my God, kid show.
Sausage Factory. You made it bad though. Congratulations. They just would have been like, oh, food, and now they're like, maybe something different. Okay. Anyways, so Hitchcock.
Come on, Justin.
Well,
you're a sexy guy.
He talks about this. He talks about what do? You have a bomb underneath the table, and there's this mundane conversation happening between a couple, right? Do you show the conversation and then blow them up, and you have that moment of shock, right? Or do you show the bomb before the conversation, and then there in that whole conversation you have suspense is what lasts. Shock is it's cheap. It's cheap. And this is where the simulation shit comes in from last season. Now here it makes sense because they would be trying to replicate like the Sublime, and they're definitely trying to work off a model, and there will be a Ford master plan. So it does make sense it'd be there. But last season with this isn't really happening. All these people, so many episodes just didn't happen. I'm like, what the hell did we watch? It's Dallas. Wake up in the shower. You know what I mean? Suspense, not shock. It's like, ooh, that was different. oh, but it also doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? So like I wasted my time. So there has to be that in between ground. But I do think that, you know, it's always possible. We had William, the two Williams, right? In the first season, but that made sense because we saw the polar opposites, right? We saw the duality of the situation. We saw how people can change. You know, they expressed.
You know, Rachel Levinwood though said that William was always terrible. He was never.
I'm not saying that he was such a great guy, but yeah, I liked him a little better young. You know?
She said young William was never good guy William.
No,
but he was. He at least had, okay, he wasn't a good guy, but he had intentions to be good. He was trying to be good.
Yes, he wanted to be good.
Yeah. Well, the point is to show two different people. So if you have Caleb and one is a host and one isn't, you need to have a separation point that makes sense to see why it's there. Yeah. To be like, oh, that's why. Not
Maeve didn't want to be alone, or she
didn't say she was alone.
Why would she be in the cabin? Like, if she had a toast version of Caleb, like she could just had him.
She said she wasn't lonely.
Yeah,
she said.
I don't know.
She called a service.
Interesting. She's got to go.
Can I just I want to just bring something up real quick. I do have to jump off soon, but the William in the black bodysuit.
Yeah, he's not dead. Yep.
That was interesting.
I did that.
Yes. Is this like I'm keeping him alive to just torture him, or is there another purpose for him still being alive?
I think there's another.
What do you guys think,
Tim? I know we can see the messages. I said the sausage factory. Yeah, Vanessa has to go. We saw it could have been a lot worse. But no, thank you. I love you, Tim. Go ahead.
What do you say, Brett? What do you have to say, Brett?
I think she's keeping him alive for his. Maybe his memories or his brain, his humanity. She wants to
keep this host version as close to the original as possible. Maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
She said something about him being the most interesting of the humans or something. Didn't she say?
He's very complacent and very easily led. I think that she made
made the park.
He made a promise to Mr. White. She made Maeve to keep Caleb alive. Mr. White told her to. You know, that's why Caleb's there. Are you talking about Man in Black or Caleb?
She's talking about Man in Black.
Oh, Man in Black.
Real William, not host.
I thought he's gone though. I thought he was gone. I didn't get that at the end because
no.
He's alive.
No, he's alive.
Yes.
He's like.
It was so funny because I was talking about this with somebody. We never, in silly Westworld fashion, we never saw him fully die. Yeah. He was just kind of like, on the ground. Yeah. So I was like, he's still alive. And then they were like, you're being a little bit pedantic. And I was like, well, you never know. And guess what? He is actually still alive.
You did actually see the dead body.
But I think what Vanessa said was something very interesting because perhaps she's keeping him alive to test fidelity. Right? Like she wants to try to bring the new one up to speed, or part of their plan.
If you're using this host to convince people to
it's the reverse fidelity thing.
Yeah. They have to have a realistic William.
You have to have the sample, the DNA, right? So you keep it. You keep it around.
But that's not him though. It's his actions.
Didn't they have built a host body with that DNA though? Isn't it organic materials? Like host bodies are they're organic.
They turned it into organic. It was cheaper to do. Yeah.
So that could be his DNA, but his memories, they have to have the actual William.
Yeah.
But Jonah and Lisa did say he died, but you liars. I mean,
well, look what happened with Jon Snow.
Okay, there was a reason for that though.
Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to mention. Lisa Joy keeps saying that
it is Christina.
Christina is a human. Mm-hmm. So how can she actually be a human unless she's a human in a simulation?
I think that's what's going on. She is ignorant to things happening. She is not powerful. Somebody is manipulating things around her. They're tracking her.
I mean, it's basically like a video game, and she's a human in it.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of NPCs.
I don't believe anything those people say. They don't even watch the show.
I don't either.
I want to fight them at this point. I love season 1, but it's gotten to the point we talked about this where it's
no, their answers. If you read some of the interviews, especially that she's been doing lately, her answers are sometimes just really silly and flippant, and I think that it's like going back to the Damon and Carlton and Lost stuff. They're just we lied. What are you talking? We're doing press. We're not. It's listen, when they ask the quarterback after they lose the game, how do you feel? And he goes, well, I really believe in my team. We played the best I can. He doesn't really mean that. Okay, like they're doing press. They don't tell
Yeah.
I was a reporter. They're not telling you. We can't. I don't think we can ever go by what they say in an interview.
I absolutely
know?
agree. I don't believe
It's a
anything.
press
They literally
opportunity.
did
I have to
press
say
tour,
though that
last
in
season.
this
Yeah, but that should get us. Just,
No, it was
oh,
to
go ahead.
explain
I'm sorry,
their
Costa.
Sorry. They literally look into it.
I have to say
I'm not
there's this one-
disagreeing.
There's this one this one YouTube video where the cast read fan theories on the internet, and Evan Rachel Wood said that they've got it all planned out, right? They got the whole thing plotted out for, I suppose, 5 seasons or so, and that she thinks that it's going to all end back at the park, like back in Westworld. She thinks it's going to all come full circle, and I thought that was really interesting. But even the cast don't know
Lee
what's going to happen.
Sizemore in a shower, and he turns around and says hello.
Oh God,
Like, oh my God,
I miss him.
I miss him too.
All right, Vanessa,
yeah, no,
I know
if
you
they-
have to go.
I do.
Yeah,
I
a lot
need
of
a
people
job.
were really furious
It was great to talk
about.
to you, Vanessa.
I think it's just lazy writing something like Lost. Like I think that's just lazy.
What? Oh no.
And so I
Heidi,
really
be
hope they
careful. I
don't-
don't need my two
I'm
co-hosts
not going
each
down
other's
that road,
throats.
Heidi.
Yeah.
Lost is
Between
not
me and you,
lazy.
Heidi, I agree completely. Though.
Well, I
Damon
never was-
Lindelof is a genius.
Yeah, genius.
Did you watch The Leftovers? The Watchmen?
Oh, we're watching The Leftovers right now.
The man's a genius.
He's
Who is it?
Damon
Lindelof.
Lindelof.
like Lipton soup, but spelled weird.
The guy who
I
did
don't know.
Lost?
Sorry, remember?
Yeah.
It's not really anything
He
like
did The Leftovers and Watchmen.
Yeah, he's good at
Those
ideas,
were his follow-ups.
stories, and ending them. Little off, but I think that this is a great part of it. I think that we should go around and have any, especially because I felt like Brett, I haven't got the Brett flavor of any of your really deep theories. If you might not have any at this point, but let's say goodbye to Vanessa. She's been trying to get off, as we saw.
I
On
know,
the screen.
it's okay.
See you later.
It's
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
It's hard to leave because I've had so much fun, and it was great talking to everyone, and hopefully I can do this again. But
Absolutely.
yeah.
Welcome back anytime. Check. I
Thank
have her
you.
art.
Vanessa,
in
I
the
hope
page.
that you'll come on, maybe do a House of the Dragon with me.
I would love
fall.
to.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
I would love to.
Awesome. It was really nice seeing you.
Yeah, same. So goodbye, everyone. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, sorry, Justin. Go ahead and say what you're going to say.
No, I didn't. Is that one of those dragon shows? Is that what you're talking about?
It is.
Oh, I've heard of those.
And they did a preview tonight right after the episode. I don't know if you guys got that.
Yeah, they did a lot of marketing for that. Westworld got like 1 billboard in Cincinnati.
I know.
Yeah. Okay. So Brett, you've given us a little bit of your simulation theory, and I do actually agree with what you're saying here. What do you think about Dolores not noticing the tower?
Have we seen the tower? Other than like
they mentioned it. Somebody mentioned
Yeah.
the tower to her, and she said, "What tower?" And they're like,
Right.
"Oh, you crazy!"
I think- I was thinking the tower is just something that's outside the simulation, but if people are waking up, they can see it. Like, and maybe just like
I don't remember that. Is that in this episode, Justin?
Yeah, somebody brings
Yeah.
up the tower, and she says, and I'm trying, because I'm on 3 different phones because my iPhone broke, to get it, but just, will you please just trust me? It says live build. All right, it's not on any of the internet yet. I can show it on this crap.
Are you still Justin? Of course, I trust you, man.
Oh, good.
only
I'm
kidding
also
with
a
you.
millionaire, and I'm very handsome. Trust me.
That
You
is
are
true.
handsome.
Oh, man.
All those things are true.
Yeah, ladies, you heard it first, but I'm going to
In
need
a
your money.
simulation,
Well,
Yeah.
I'm all about the screenshots of the monitors. And
They'll
and
be
whatnot.
up. Reddit will have them.
I'll take a picture of it. I'm just going to use my phone.
That's what I did, but and then I get this thing's not even, my phone's busted. But yeah, it wasn't letting me cap it. So yeah, they have a live build. They're tracking her, and it seems like they're very clearly keeping her out of the loop of things, right, Brett?
Well, I don't know who they is. Yeah, see, I don't.
Her
My-
boss.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, Tim, no, we didn't hit on the dead birds.
Tim loves dead birds. That's my buddy. He's really into dead birds. No, I'm
The
joking.
dead birds are that's that. See, it's thing that I'm not. I mean, we go back and forth, but I still think that she might be a real person in a park, and
That's what I'm with. That's my theory.
I'm
She
not
is-
so sure that that's a sim, and I think that those birds and the guy talking about that. I mean, maybe it's a park, like I said, where they're trying to do, or maybe she is a host, and the other people in the park are human with the fly stuff. I don't know, but the bird thing seemed pretty real. Like it would point to that there is a tower, a central, like a mesa-like structure, right? And that, like you're saying, when people wake up, they can see it and they can kind of hear it or whatever. And it's just similar to the native people in Westworld, how they were drawing pictures of the cleanup techs and all that stuff, you know?
Allegory of the cave. They, the sun blinds them, but then they can finally.
Well, I was looking at it as being kind of like a bad omen. Maybe that's too on the nose, though.
I don't know. I mean, it seems right.
But the thing is that there were all those birds on the ground, and the people were just walking past them.
They didn't see it, I think.
Yeah, they didn't see him. So I feel like it's something that Christina wrote, or like willed in, subconsciously willed into the world, like she has all of these.
I love that.
Yeah.
Subconsciously willed in. I love what you just said right there. That's the
Tim
vibe
says
I'm
they're
getting.
they're dying from a strong radio signal.
Oh, look at you.
The same
Tim.
thing, I believe, is
Yeah.
controlling the flies.
That is
Lots of great
interesting.
theories, by the way, in the chat,
Is there?
Justin. We should do. We should collect some of them, and then maybe next week we can read some of them out.
You want to know what we should do? We should start collecting data on everybody.
There was...
We'll
there-
start collecting data.
um,
By the way, when they went into the park, right, and they said, "Do you agree to have, like they had to agree and to have everything, like all of their data collected."
Mhm.
So they're basically giving it away, but it kind of reminds me, like when you sign up for Facebook or any of those social media platforms, you sort of just sign, "Oh yeah, sure, no problem," because you're not really reading what's going to happen.
It was verbatim, the welcome to, like, there is no, William asked the same thing about the panic attacks. In the first episode, why does that matter? And that's Caleb too. They're like, shut up. It matters because there's been 2 massacres here and a bunch of bad stuff, and things are likely to go wrong, and we just seem to not change anything. Like, it's very worrisome.
Yeah.
The other thing I thought was it wasn't very egalitarian. I thought the hostess she was going to, like look after Caleb. Well, where was Maeve's host? Where was if she wanted? And also it was kind of like gendered, like maybe she's not into, or he's not into women. Like maybe he's into men. So that was another thing. I mean, unless they could read their profiles, just throwing that out there.
Oh, somebody
And
saw
also,
my
how did-
hangouts. That's not
Also, how did they know their sizes? Because they didn't really even know they were going to be coming until just right
yeah,
before.
I was wondering about that too. So why? Well, I guess because everybody's registered though. Like, I mean, it's like
Maeve created fake identities that had their sizes in there or something.
But she did it right before right before. She didn't do it, they would have had to, like she said, "Oh, Justin, did you notice they used the term bespoke?" So
I did. I just learned that from you
So
the
they
other
used
week.
bespoke. So bespoke. And also they used the word sartorial, which is my least favorite word in the world. So Maeve used sartorial, which is just like a sort of a British term for of clothing, referring to clothing kind of thing.
Those are British. It is interesting. I mean, obviously, the information is there and things move pretty fast, Heidi. If you don't stop and look around, you might miss it, right? But the technology's there that if they enter it into the system, this is a pretty authoritarian-esque, right? Like dystopia, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
So it would make sense they would have that. Also, I guess taking time to get this out, even though the only thing they ever offer is time for a little lusty adventures, which nobody takes, and I would always take. I'm like, sure thing. But nobody takes that.
I'm sure lots of people take it.
And I want to know what? I would argue this, Heidi, the size would be much more accurate after that. They would know exactly what size you were. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Maybe that's their
What's his name? Took it the first time we saw it in season
Yeah.
1.
Logan. That's
Remember?
'cause
Totally.
Logan.
I shook
He did.
Logan's hand
Yeah.
and I got pregnant.
But what
Logan
if
took it.
Caleb?
Yeah.
What if Caleb and Maeve are a couple? Let's just say they are a
It
committed
seems
couple.
like they're
and you
shilling
have
that a little
a female host, and you'd be like, "Look, bitch, get the fuck out of here." I'm this is my husband. The whole thing was just sort of weird. Or if you're going to do that, when you also have a male host come in, and we know there's male hosts.
Oh, that's gross, Heidi. That's not becoming of a woman. You know what I mean? Come on. No, I'm joking.
Becoming of me or becoming of Maeve?
No, of what be classy, all right? But the guy, here's the thing. I'd be like, listen, babe, it's a robot. It doesn't matter. I'm just gonna go over there and I'm gonna learn how to please you better through this experience. This is for you. I don't want to do it. But yeah, no, it is pretty misogynistic. It's like, and they're always like, do you think those hosts get low self-esteem and they go home and like, like
He rejected me again.
yeah, like everybody keeps rejecting
Yeah.
me. It's like, and I'm made to be like sexy. Like, you know what I mean? And I think they're too overt. They need to play hard to get. They should be like, you could try on your clothes, or maybe I just won't talk to you anymore. Then I'd be like, oh, I love you. You know what I mean? like just reject them a little bit. I think they're too forward. But yeah, it is interesting.
There, can I answer some questions from the chat?
I think we should.
Okay, number one. Kay asks, why does Hale Loris have burn scars on her arm given that she's a bot in heels? Because in the scene last year, William asked her the same thing. I think there's a lot of people that did not see the 2 stingers last year because I'm noticing that lately. But go back and watch after the finale. He asked her the same question and she said, so she remembers. It's like it's her cornerstone. She wants to remember what happened,
pain.
that they killed, that humans killed her wife, her husband, and her son.
Yeah, she had an Anakin Skywalker moment there.
Yeah, and they have no back to tank. They have no back to tank.
And let's see. Tim says Caleb touched. Oh, they were talking about the phones. That Caleb touched the skin behind his ear to hang up the phone, and Christina has an earring for a phone. I didn't mean the phone. I meant like they both have these same little like
Bluetooth
devices or something that are like transparent. That seems to connect the 2 worlds. That's one object.
Has hers for work. Christine's
hers is.
But it's still whatever it is. It looks
technology.
like
Yeah, it's no. You're right.
It seems to match from both
Very
places.
Very good point. Yes.
Let's see what another one is. Alora. Oh, okay. Somebody said AK had something. I think the hosts who are in the new park are human with that fly in their head. I totally agree. Again, I don't think that Dolores, who's in charge here, she's in charge of William, right? So when we talk about William and MIB, we're talking about her intentions, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think that she would create a park with hosts because hosts are her people. But the park experience was torture.
But they did
so
kill
the people in that park are human.
But she did kill some hosts. We saw her do it, right? Like with the senator, right? They had 2 copies.
Well, the theory was that the hosts in the park are humans under the nanotechnology.
No, I'm with that, but
then the guests are the hosts.
No, she killed 2 humans.
Okay, yeah, that was
they
the
weren't
part
hosts.
Okay, I'm sorry. That was the beginning where I was trying to get the stream together.
No, she has not killed any hosts, and she specifically said, even when a live William said to her, what, are you just going to make duplicates of yourself and put it in everybody? And she said, no, I want my people to have their own lives, their own experiences.
It's like authoritarian rule to give agency. It's crazy.
I don't know. I mean, I think that, obviously she doesn't want humans to live. So I think it makes sense that in this new park that they built, that those are all humans. What do you think, Brett?
I can roll with that, but I am wondering if that woman that greeted Caleb, was she a human? Did she have all the flies in her head? I mean, that's pretty advanced if that's the case, because she's not twitching and there's no,
And Maeve recognized her.
They're doing experiments. Yeah.
Maeve recognized her.
Well, maybe she is a host, but she knows it.
She's staff.
She knows what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I think the difference is just, right, like she's not hiding it.
She has agency.
Yeah, she created other hosts, but they have agency.
And she chose to have that job. And I just want to say, I absolutely 100% agree with everything you're saying. Remember, we talked about this on the pre-show about it being flipping the switch. Kim from New Jersey, by the way, I love New Jersey. Axel has some issue with
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks to everyone for doing
you.
this. It's great to have a place to go and connect with people who love the show right after it airs. No, thank you. That's the reason I don't do a lot of content on my own channel anymore, but this is the one thing that we're going to do here. So we appreciate that you appreciate it. Let's see. So then we have... right hand helds do match. Didn't think I don't get what you're saying there, Tim. Right, the handhelds do match. Oh, okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, the handhelds match.
Yeah, I got you. Yep.
Philippe says, I didn't understand that moment where Christina orders people to leave the clinic and they all leave the place. She says, I wish you would just leave. Justin, earlier I said that I thought that showed that she had some kind of power over the situation. Do you think that was just a coincidence? What do you think?
I think that she said that out loud, and she does have power, but it's not power that she is not. She is obviously in the dark, right? I think that she has a lot of power because they're watching her, and I think this world actually might be created to observe her and to evolve her. And I hate that my theory, because I just wanted Wolverine origins to have. I wanted the terrible. I wanted the original Dolores so bad, because I felt like that'd be so great. But I
like that too, man.
I killed it. It's done. We did the whole Harry Carey.
It could be true though, with what I was saying. It could be a meld between those things.
I like that. So I think, again, that's what I mean. Is that she said that and it happened, but it's just like, if I said, well, I'm better win the lottery, and then like there is somebody like Ed Harris up and he's like, all right, I'm gonna make this idiot win the lottery, but like I didn't know that I had the power to will that to be. I just yearned for it. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Coincidence.
By the way, when Christina goes to that, I guess it's a mental hospital, to visit the wing, and she looks off in the other room and she sees like some people being like, it looks like they're being escorted by
yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, the peacekeepers. Oh, sorry, I'm completely confused then. They look like
no. Go ahead though. Yeah. What do you mean? They look like
they look like peacekeepers from what's that name of that movie? Alicia, know what I'm talking about.
Judge Dredd.
Yeah, they look like very futuristic kind of.
Is
like,
it Judge Dredd?
No, it's not. The Hunger Games.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah, like they're wearing like kind of uniforms with like the blast shields and the helmets.
Yeah, I didn't. Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I didn't see. I didn't know. I was so interested in her saying that and them just leaving that I really didn't look at them that well. I wonder. That's interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know what was going on there.
We have something from Ernesto here. He's saying that the host that greets, she's a host that replaced Clem in season 2.
Yeah.
So this is another Coronel situation, right? Good catch, Ernesto. Good catch.
Yeah, she is a host, but I just think that she knows that she's. That doesn't mean when I say that I think everyone in the park is a human, that doesn't mean everyone. I just mean that it's reversed.
I have no
that the people that there are hosts in the park. The hosts are running the park.
They would have to.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're in control. Kay said they reminded him of Soylent Green, and then and then Alicia said yes, Hunger Games guard uniforms, sort of just like that, sort of heavily militaristic kind of. So, but she just sort of like glanced over and was kind of like out of their eye line, and I wasn't sure what was going on. And then she saw the drawings that were of that tower, as well in that room.
And there were like plans that were on the table as she walked in. Like they were they were plans of that building itself. Like they were like it was both old and new at the same time.
It's like Fallout or Skyrim. You walk by a table and it's like, do you want to investigate this? And like her roommate, I'm serious. So like in her roommate,
that's video game stuff.
Yeah, it's like, hey, and they're like
they're getting back into that.
And then Tesla's building that, but he's also in the middle of a relationship with a pigeon somewhere. It looks like
Justin, no, I think you're absolutely right. That whole scene felt very video game-ish to me. Even the shot and the building that they used, and it was just, I felt it was very strange.
Yeah, it was. It looked like something. There's a movie like that, and I'm trying to remember what it is. It takes place in a mental hospital, but it's sort of like an alternative reality, right? And it's based on a video game. And then it looks like everything looks kind of like deserted, and there's like trash sort of littered about, and and also the fact that it's a mental hospital, like
which are usually a bunch of fun. And
You know, they don't really have mental hospitals nowadays. They're usually named something a lot more progressive than that.
they're not places you want
Like they don't have the the home for the criminally insane.
No, they're not yanking teeth from people because they're insane.
Yes.
Like, the disease is in the teeth.
I think it's very weird that, I mean, I don't know. It makes me feel like maybe when I feel like I'm going to be like some really super. All right, this is the city. Can I hold this up?
Hey, I'm
going to
one-shot you for this.
This is the city, okay, that Caleb and Maeve see when they're looking out the window. And to me, that could be where Christina is. When I first saw it, I thought, like, that looks like New York or something. You know, that kind of looks like
I was
that
almost wondering,
city.
is that a real view out looking outside, or is that a simulated view of the outside? Is that just like a projection screen?
No, I think that's what they were
it's very
pulling
Hunger
into.
Games again, you know, like Hunger Games. They're kind of like on this really fast bullet train speeding through the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess since you held up a phone, I'll hold up a phone for the live thing. And this is my. My iPhone broke. I'm poor, and it works, but I have to do voice dictate. So this is this old Samsung. So now I have to even find where
Alicia, I have to say I just love Alicia because Alicia and I are like basically on the same wavelength with everything. She says it looked like a simulation to her.
Well,
Looking out that window.
Yeah, like it
But
looked
they
like
pulled into a park, and we know that they had to get approval to build a park. So it's
you see
a
them
park.
going through the west. You see them because we saw the same thing with Caleb and William, or not Caleb. Who's the other guy's name? Like at the beginning of Logan. Yes, going through. Yeah. So
it could be.
What is
both.
Justin doing?
Justin, what are you doing?
What is Justin doing? Is this like a pose or something?
Well, you have to get it because of the light. You have to get. Your
I
hand
can't see it. You have to talk so it becomes big. Oh, okay.
See that? Live build.
That's interesting.
Pin yourself.
Yeah, I see it. You're right. I saw it.
Bam! Vindicated. And Alicia, how do you not know that what you're in right now is a simulation? So you think you're seeing a simulation because you're in a simulation right now. Bam! Mind blown. Nothing matters. Boom. That is a valid point.
Can you pin yourself?
I can.
So that I can see it in full?
I shall do it. We have the technology.
Doesn't look like anything to me.
If that says live build, that just supports my theory even more.
I'm not against your theory,
That's
Brad.
what I'm gonna say.
You want to know? I want to hear more crazy stuff from you, like crazy smart. You have a unique crazy smart aspect of you.
Listen, there's one thing we have to say about what we're talking about. Regardless of whether she's a real person in a park, she is a.
You have to do this. Hold on.
Oh my God! What's going on?
So is it
I
still
feel like
light
you're trying
where
to
you
Men
are?
in Black me.
Axel,
Are you trying
how
to
is
Men
it-
in Black me?
Axel, how is it still
What?
light where you are?
Because I'm in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, no, his lofty
What
ideals
time is
keep
it
it
there?
8:55. The sun
Oh,
doesn't
wow.
go down until like 9:30, 9:45.
light. A shitty phone.
But what I was going to say is, regardless, it's still okay. I see it, Justin. Live build. I see it.
What is it?
It's
I
still.
want confirmation from Brett.
Oh, okay.
I see it. Justin. Thank you.
You got the
I'm gonna see it again
confirmation.
because I'm going to rewatch the episode and I'm going to.
Yeah,
What
me
is
too.
it?
I'll take a picture of it, Brett, and put it on the Facebook page.
You want to know what I think about
Okay,
this
good.
phone?
Oh my God.
Yeah, fuck that phone.
That was very destructive. But listen, what I was going to say is this.
Are those your vitals? What is that?
What's going on? Regardless of whatever it is a person that looks exactly like Dolores. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's got to be.
There's got to be a reason.
Yes. Why are we watching this?
Because
like,
they
I
love
know
Evan.
it's fun to after one episode you're like, hey, what's going on? Where is she? After two episodes you're like, hey, what's going on? Where is she? All I want to say is I think this is fun. I think it's interesting, but I would like to find out where she is within the next episode or two,
Totally.
so I can invest myself a little bit better in understanding how it relates to the story and to the story we've seen already, which is 3 previous seasons of Westworld. So I'm enjoying this. and I'm interested in finding out where she is. I don't really care if it's a simulation. I'll be like, cool. If it's real, I'll be like, cool. But I think there's definitely repeating time that's happening. There's something is weird. If she is real, she's got to be in some sort of park because they're like monitoring her.
Yeah.
And if she's not,
Well,
whatever.
You said, first of all, I want to say Solomon is not destroyed. He's offline, but the reserve power is on, according to a screenshot of the screen from last season. So
I'd like clarification.
Solomon could still be in play. Also, you said his predecessors, Saul and David, could also still be in play, maybe. And maybe they're functioning the same way. Maybe they are in re-education facilities with a bunch of outlier pods hooked up to them as well. So an alternate version of my theory is that one of those is in Berlin, because if you recall last year, there was a divergence in Berlin that was connected to Dolores copies that was never explained. So maybe there's a
Brett, you're the
facility
man.
in Berlin,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe Dolores visited that facility. That's what the divergence was. So maybe she was able to put herself inside the simulation, but she is not a true Dolores. I don't know how she's connected, but for some reason she doesn't have any.
I think it
memories.
matters. I think the one thing I disagree with what Vanessa was saying before, Justin, you were saying like if it's just another pearl of Dolores, I think what it would be is not those other Charlotte is not a Dolores Pearl anymore.
They're a
Right?
pearl, but it's just a divergent because of nature and nurture, right? They go in
She
different
became
paths.
something different.
Yeah, because
right?
in the Dolores we watched,
So
from our POV went different. It's just
there would
nature.
there'd be like a purity to it, is what I think.
No, she is just
you know?
as those are just as pure. That is a philosophical like debate that I
Yeah,
hate.
we could have a debate over it.
Well, they're all Dolores. One Dolores
Yeah.
went one way, one went the other. You can't just say that the one we had the POV of last is more
Well,
Dolores. You
but
can't.
you would.
You cannot. You cannot.
But I'm saying there's a perspective on it if what you're trying to get to is the closest to Arnold's intentions, right? Or if there is something in the code originally that got filtered out from her wearing a new face, from the mask becoming the face.
Okay, so
it's just a possibility. I'm not saying I agree with it.
There's a variable
but,
there, but the issue I take with that is everybody acts like that's not Dolores when what we have here is optics of storytelling. We followed one Dolores in our perspective, so we deem that to be the ultimate Dolores. Yes, one took on another face, but faces, and listen, they've switched a whole bunch. And Dolores made the decision to split herself and do this. So Dolores is mad at Dolores. These are optics of storytelling. So I get the sentiment, or I get I don't get the sentiment, because the sentiment should be, these are all Dolores's, and it is a narrative on nature versus nurture.
Okay.
Yeah, you get what I mean?
I have to disagree. I think they're different characters. I think
they've turned different. If you clone 5 Axels, and I said one to Cincinnati, one to New Orleans, one to New Jersey, which is a fabulous place, by the way, and one to Canada, which is an even better place, right?
There's only a few people here.
We're instantly different.
Yeah, they're going to be different, but not one is more Axel than the other.
But the one that you sent nowhere.
Nobody went nowhere. Nobody went nowhere. They all went somewhere. Life continues on. We have things happen to us.
Just saying, she could be a Dolores that was never sent anywhere.
I mean, I guess. I just don't see the validity.
The significance of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. It's just like, then it's just like, guess what? You didn't know. There was one the whole time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those. I don't know
what the significance is either. That's what the show would reveal to us. I'm just saying, they've done that in the past where something becomes like the MacGuffin, like the data is. The data, in a sense, is like a MacGuffin. It doesn't really matter. It's a plot contrivance. It's the
red herring. It's
yeah.
You to look the other way. I agree, and I want to also actually agree on what you're saying. We're either going to get the information on what's going on with Christine next episode. This seems to be more Bernard centric, right? Or we're going to get it in the penultimate episode.
Maybe the next one after that, I think,
because it is going to be
episode.
A Ford-esque situation that we're going to be dealing with here. There is a plan that we are watching, I believe, what Bernard from the future has, tried to.
Ooh, I like that.
But that's what I've been saying that like the whole time. I think we all have, right? Like we know they're trying to replicate. They seem to see something in the Sublime that works, so they're trying to replicate it with the hosts running humans through a park. They are reversing the situation, so we're gonna see the chess pieces all come together. So I don't feel like you're gonna really know what's going on with Christine or what she is or who she is. And I'm sorry, I shouldn't be aggressive with you, actually. I love you to death. I get a little bit mouthy, I'm sorry, with that type of stuff.
I'm fine.
No, I know you're fine, but I shouldn't. I don't like when people say that that's not Dolores. For some reason, that really gets to me, because it's like you just saw one Dolores, like, you know what I mean? Like you followed that through the story, so you just like discount that. You're not, but a lot of people do. They think that's just Charlotte Hale. Dolores made the decision to send herself somewhere else. They're all Dolores equally, and I'm done with that. But yeah, I think that we're gonna get a reveal, and hopefully it pays off, right? Because it better not just be, and this was different because we wanted to get you guys shooken up, or again, the bomb under the table.
Mm-hmm.
Final thoughts, I guess.
Guys, sorry, I have to head out.
Yeah, I think final thoughts. Let's do final thoughts here. How much
Sure.
did we like? Okay, episode. I'm
ready to keep talking, baby. Come on,
No,
it's only 9.
you guys can stay.
I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
How many people are in the chat?
I just have to work tomorrow.
All right.
It's the 4th of July. Heidi said.
No, you guys are off. Yes.
Yeah.
Happy 4th of July to
I'm
everybody.
not. She's like, do
Tell
you
my
want
American friends.
not want to have a meeting tomorrow because the 4th of July? I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I'm here in North Carolina shooting fireworks off by myself, I guess.
It's technically 4th of July now. It's after midnight.
Yeah,
and
people
where
have
I
been
am
shooting guns here nonstop. They love
Oh,
the hell out
God.
of they love the hell out of the pomp. They hate the actual government though. In North Carolina, they love the song and the
Yeah.
flag though.
I remember, Justin, when I moved into my house in Durham, we had to do like the appraisal or the check of the house,
Yeah.
right? Like where the guy goes inspection.
Yeah, if there's
And
a
there
mark
was
in the
like,
wall, you get.
he goes up on the roof. He comes down. I go, how's the roof? And he goes, everything looks good. There was only about 9-10 bullet holes in it. and I was
Bye,
like,
Alicia.
I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, oh yeah, that's every house
Freedom
here
bullets.
has that.
Yeah, freedom bullets.
And I was like, yo, I'm from New Jersey, man.
Yeah.
There's no houses
We
in New
shoot
Jersey
straight.
that have, yeah,
in Detroit,
exactly.
In New Jersey, we shoot straight. We don't shoot everybody.
Yeah.
It's
Justin knew where I was going with that.
Sorry,
we
Justin,
spray
I
we
have to
spray
hop
the
off,
front
buddy.
window in Jersey, baby. We ain't going up onto the roof, okay?
Well, yeah. Let's thank Heidi. Heidi, though, we only have 2 episodes to compare it to this season. So, what did you like better before you go? First episode or this episode? And we'll go around.
Oh geez, I think that's hard. Episode 1 is really great. I kind of liked it because
it's
it kind
just
of
fun.
like it. We hadn't had Westworld for like 5 years or something, and it kind of like, I'm just kidding. It felt like 5 years, right?
did.
It wasn't
no, I
that
just
far
felt
off. Yeah, I mean,
it just sort of reintroduced us to everybody. I felt like it did a really good job. So I don't know. Like I think I liked episode 1 better.
I agree with that. Brett.
I think I liked episode 1 a little better. I did want to bring up something before we go, though.
Absolutely.
Just real quick.
Yes.
Speaking.
Well, why don't
of-
we let Heidi go if she's gonna
Oh,
go?
I'm sorry.
I feel like we're
Yeah,
keeping her.
I don't want to keep you guys. Like I want you to be able to chat on. But it's been so great seeing all of you, Brett. It was really nice meeting you. Axel, always
You
is
too.
always lovely seeing
You're
you.
the
in
best.
person. And I look forward to being back next week to do this again with you all.
Awesome. Definitely.
Okay. So take care, everyone. Have a lovely evening.
See
Happy
you
4th
later.
of July to my
Thanks, you
American
too.
friends. And a happy belated Canada Day to my Canadian friends.
You guys with your holidays.
Ale, blame Canada.
Okay, exactly. Okay. Bye, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Go ahead, Brett.
I just wanted to mention, I reminded myself of this recently, but when Rehoboam was dying at the end of season 3, he spit out a screenshot of what would happen if Caleb had uploaded his strategy from Solomon.
Oh,
and
yeah.
there's a list of things. And like the last one was human extinction 50 to 125 years. And I think the second to last one was population collapse 27 years or something. But the very first thing in that list was mass casualty event 6 to 10 years. So it wasn't it wasn't even predicting a mass casualty event in the immediate aftermath of this rebellion or whatever, this transition.
That's
But
great,
the very
Brett.
first thing it was listing was 6 to 10 years mass casualty event,
Okay.
where we are 7 to 8 years
fun.
after that. So we're right.
Yeah.
If this strategy is actually playing out, something any day now, something big is going to happen.
Hey, you know what, Brett? That's really cool because, in this episode, as we mentioned, Maeve and Caleb make mention of like after the riots, we went back to living our lives. But you're right in that there was so much talk last season, and specifically in that plan, that this was a way long range thing. Like that's something that Sirach said too, right? Like we project out. So 7, 8 years is nothing, right? So for us to think, oh, it was all over, and for Caleb and his buddy to think nothing changed, it's all over, that's just very like minuscule thinking, not really like long-term thinking. So that's a great point that maybe what we're seeing now, this whole thing, like Dolores and all that was part of Dolores' original plan and Ford's original plan. They knew that someone must rise up. Like one Dolores must have the idea to extinguish all humans, and one Dolores must have the idea to save all the humans and rehabilitate them and let them see the beauty. Yeah. So just like why Dolores let Bernard live, right? So that's what's like bringing this back. That's why I come back to the idea that Bernard is alive to bring this Dolores back, that he's going to somehow bring her back to life, and we're going to get back this Dolores who is maybe Christina. But
and I agree. So like this whole story has been, so Ford's whole thing, he realized with Akicheta that you have to have hands off, and you have to have, just like, let's get biblical with it, and I take it as a metaphor here, beliefs are beliefs, but, people have to have decisions to have free will. So you have to have, that's, Dolores created, like, she did something I always made the joke of, like, you would never do. Like, me and Brett are, like, in, like, a fight for, like, a Fortune 500 company, and, like, Brett dies, and I'm like, want to know what? It's not fair unless I, like, get him back, like, clone him, right? And he can, like, come at me. It's like, no, Brett's smart. He's dead. That's good for me. In this hypothetical situation, right? like I'm not gonna bring you back. Like that's like just stupid, right? Like it's like, but it's a bigger picture. They have the bigger picture. What Axel's saying is they have to have people with different ideologies, different perspectives, different philosophical views, different approaches, and it's kind of a pass off to like she created because she knew Bernard was going to be necessary. You know what I mean? So like that's like why. Now Bernard's whole mission isn't to bring back Dolores, but to bring back Dolores's, in my opinion, vision. She willingly sacrificed herself. So Christine is going to have, she obviously has a lot of Dolores traits. She's painting the same pictures. She's telling the same stories. We're getting Dolores in all but name. I'll be clear about that. That's fine. But I don't think there's any mission that we must get Dolores back. She is the mother host. The DNA all spawns from her, right? If we were looking at it from like a biological sense, but with their technology, the trace DNA and the echoes would be there. So yeah, I think that's been the whole narrative of this story, is that you can't have change, just by one person's vision. You have to have people say, just like people need to tell me to shut up. You know what I mean? Like it's like everybody needs to be challenged. Everybody needs to say, hey, that doesn't make sense. Or like, whether they're right or wrong, if you have to explain yourself, you have a much better handle, if you can explain yourself, on what you're actually talking about. You need to be challenged. A world in which somebody gets to do whatever they want, we've seen that. We've seen dictators. I've never seen it end well. You know what I mean? It never goes smooth when people are all just following one person's lead. So I think that these hosts have they have a more worldly view, and they're less connected to themselves, and I think they have more of a hive community, if that makes sense. Like they are more of a people than a person, is what I'd say. But
that's an interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting point of view. A lot of what you said is what Dolores said to Bernard, right? And then what she said to Maeve just before she was deleted by Sirach, that she wanted to destroy everything. And then she kept Bernard around. She told us at the end of season 2 that Bernard was kept around to basically act as her foil, right? To challenge
that was the
her.
Brett metaphor. I would lay him dead. Yeah.
But I ask you this, though. In season 3, how much did he challenge her?
Well, here you go. When you see conspiracy, I see incompetence. Nothing.
I don't think that's why she kept Bernard. Actually,
she did.
My theory is that she said that, but she kept Bernard because Bernard had the key in his head the entire time.
Yeah,
he took it from Peter Abernathy, and she couldn't take it from him for some reason. It had to stay. It was a one-time use key. I'm bringing this back, baby. One-time use key that Bernard took from Abernathy, but for some reason she couldn't take it from Bernard, so she kept him alive.
Yeah, that is interesting. This is something that Brett came up with, but brought up. I remember this when I took over the pod. He brought up. I forgot that was a one-time use key. That is pertinent information, and I forgot it again. Thank you, Brett. But I do have to still disagree with you on the whole, because it's explicitly stated, man. You know what I mean? That I need you around, and I feel like that again.
Well, but think about it, this Justin.
That the key thing is irrelevant, though. That still works. But Brett's not
it could
wrong.
still be right, though, Justin, because
that's what I mean.
It just we haven't seen it yet. Like Bernard, whatever Dolores is doing, because basically Charlotte became that thing that Dolores first described the season last in the finale. She became the foil, right? They basically they kind of had cross purposes. Maeve also was a foil to her, but she ended up having a totally different idea because of the experience she had as Charlotte. Yes. She changed and she turned more towards like the Wyatt in her, because we have to remember that Dolores is also Wyatt, right?
Yeah, she was already split.
So it makes sense.
Time and circumstance made her. She didn't become Charlotte. She just went more towards a violent path.
Well, she's something different.
Because they had different experiences. But that is still, like I said, I want to be very clear. Still Dolores. Dolores that we watched had different experiences.
Yes. So I see. This is where we just have to disagree on this. I think that they're different people. They had the same root in the same way we all have the same DNA because we're human. But I think that Charlotte is now a totally different person from anyone else who had a Dolores Pearl.
She absolutely is. That is not a disagreement. I just want to make sure we're clear on that. She did not take the traits of Charlotte. She just went to a different type of Dolores, meaning
yes,
the Wyatt.
You're right. Okay, yeah, she just looked like Charlotte. She took the traits of Charlotte. Yeah, totally. She took the traits of Charlotte only insofar as the way people treated her because she was Charlotte. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
No, she has no Charlotte in her. She just looks like her.
Exactly.
You're right. She was wholly a Dolores creation. She didn't meld her with Charlotte. The part that I say is Charlotte was the experiences we saw her go through, where she basically fell in love with her husband and fell in love with her son as this new like the mask became the face. It's a mental thing. It's not a programming thing.
Absolutely.
But because she is cognizant, right? It is a real thing. It became a programming thing. It reprogrammed her into something new because of her experiences.
Absolutely. That's the narrative of this is we are what the world makes us, and the world is what we make of it. So
yeah, definitely.
I would never ever say that they're not different. They're absolutely different. As soon as they diverge, they're different. But that's what I was just saying before. When people are like, "That's not Dolores," it's like, no, they're all not the same Dolores that spawned from the egg, right? The initial pearl. They all have diverged and went different ways, but they're all equally coming from the same starting point. So we're on the same. It's the verbiage that was switching me up. Yeah, it's good.
Well, one thing I wanted to mention that we didn't talk about is Clementine.
Love her.
And I was under the impression, and Brett, we had discussed this. I was under the impression that she had kind of switched sides and was already working for Charlotte because Charlotte called up Musashi and said, I sent someone to come get you. And then, but at that point, I guess she had not yet split from Dolores. And so that means that, so that means that at that point, whoever got that pearl or whoever took it, when Clementine took his head or whatever, right? Which was, that's why that's why it's hard for me to understand that. Why would she do that?
Well, she was originally brought back by Sirach to be Maeve's ally.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
She was getting that pearl for Maeve.
Right.
Maybe Maeve still has the pearl, or
so she was getting it for. So what was the point in? Then that's what I don't get, Brett. What was the point in Charlotte calling him and telling him that?
You're asking questions you don't want the answers to.
I thought Charlotte was sending somebody else, and it was just a coincidence of time. You know, it was like the switcheroo. She called and said, I'm sending someone after you. And then 2 seconds later, Clementine shows up to get his head.
Because
Clementine was sent by Maeve. Charlotte sent somebody else.
But was Musashi at that point still working with Dolores? He was, right?
Yes, actually, he was the one that gave the briefcase to someone to give to Lawrence to give to Bernard.
Yes,
I think he's the one that had the briefcase that Bernard ended up with that had the Virtual Eden headset.
And we should remind ourselves that his factory or his warehouse was full of the white host juice, and we never saw what. So that's why I think that there might be a whole nother plan that Dolores had going on that we don't know about yet, that is running concurrent and parallel to what we're
Lawrence
seeing.
Is up to something.
Yeah. So she may have been creating hosts herself.
We see stuff like that, and if I'd have to watch my own theory because that biblical, I always make fun of it, but there is the tribes of David and Solomon and all this that fought against each other and were rivals, and I don't remember.
I think there's more to, but I still don't get that Clementine thing. I'm gonna have to rewatch that scene, but if I remember correctly, Musashi's we see Clementine, right?
Yeah,
she's crazy. Listening. She hears Charlotte call Musashi and say, "I'm sending someone to you." Oh, so I think you're right, Brett. I think that was what they were talking about, was getting the briefcase. Were they talking about getting the briefcase to Bernard? Is that what she was talking? And it's just a coincidence that Clementine heard that, and then she attacked on behalf of Maeve and interrupted whatever plan Musashi was trying to accomplish.
Yeah,
possibly.
You'd have to scene by scene this.
Yeah, I'm gonna rewatch that scene.
Because we're dealing.
I don't think we're gonna know until we know where Musashi's pearl went. Then it might make more sense.
I don't think you'll
or what he was doing.
You'll never see where that came from. I guarantee.
I think you're right, Justin.
I guarantee you'll never see it.
I think you're right.
Because that scene was very convoluted, and we have to. Listen, it just is what it is. Like I always say.
I think you're right,
Where
dude.
you see conspiracy, I see incompetence. You know what I mean?
I think they're going to keep it moving because it's obvious now that Clementine has been repurposed and is working for Charlotte and William, so it doesn't matter anymore.
It's like
what happened
11
in the
or
past.
13. Somebody's got to be Casey Affleck and that other short guy, right?
Yeah.
Like, and Maeve has constantly been like without.
I read too much into that scene.
Yeah, you got like.
Okay, but what about Hanario? I'm probably pronouncing her name incorrectly, but the Shogun version of Armistice that was with Clementine at the time that they took Musashi's head. Is she going to come back as a character?
That's right. Yeah.
So
see, there's something else going on.
Nope.
Yeah.
Probably
I don't know.
No, but I'm just because like Brett again, you know, I you're very smart.
Oh no, she might have been.
Oriented. She probably isn't coming back though because it's problematic for her to come back.
But didn't she get taken out in like fighting later with?
I think they walked out together.
Okay.
her and
We need to.
Clementine
Why don't we
walked
should
out
do? We
together.
should do a live. We
I
watch
think that scene was very yes.
Yeah, and,
I agree.
because we have to paint by numbers here, people. Because you're like I barely remember what happened in that scene. Like it gets crazy. Like it's insane. So like I don't think they remember. That was a late night. And then they kill. And a lot of these people at that time didn't. They were directly working under Sirach, like right, or somebody else. Meaning like because I don't even remember.
Well, Maeve was working for Sirach, and then Sirach brought back to life a crew for Maeve to use in her purposes to defeat Dolores.
Like Clementine dragging
how about
Elsie
this?
to the cave. There's been so many instances where that's not like.
Yes,
like,
I agree. I'm going to agree with you on
She's
this,
been
Justin.
hijacked so many times.
Yeah. What did you think though, Brett? I think you have something different to say.
What if the scene we saw where William took out Clementine at the beginning of the episode here, that was a flashback that was before she attacked Musashi. So that he had already taken out the Clementine that was brought back for Maeve, made her into the Clementine that worked for William and Charlotte, and then later is the scene where they go out.
I don't know, because she was just living on her own. I don't think that's possible, because she was at that time she was working for Maeve. She wouldn't have been just living as a normal person trying to enjoy life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think at this point it doesn't really matter.
They're not rehashing
because
that situation.
yes, I agree. I think, and that scene was, I think, entirely over. I'll watch it again.
We should.
And we'll talk about it next week. I'm going to definitely do it. But I do think I agree with Justin. I think in this case, we love this show. We want to trust it. Mm-hmm. But let's be honest. There have been instances where we have to suspend our disbelief. And I think in this case, that whole scene was very weird, because I think I have it right. I'm pretty sure that she just like hears the call. But what I need to do is watch the scene with Charlotte before that and the scene with Charlotte after that to get her mindset, because that was in between. Remember when Charlotte was going kind of nuts, right? And she was questioning her loyalty to Dolores. No, this was later in the season. This was like episode 5 or 6 or something.
I think it was the beginning of episode 7.
So if you felt like you got away with something, I feel like that's what the writers feel like they did there. There's no way in hell that they would have a clever way like Brett thought up, because it's clever, like it's very clever what you said, but then it opens up this whole bag of worms. It gets you back to when you got away with like murder, right? You know what I mean? Like it's like now I'm back here and I got to explain this shit again. It doesn't explain it; it puts them back there to have to face it again. And people, these writers are human, man. Well,
you guys might be right, but we'll see.
We should. I want to.
I'm literally watching the scene as we talk.
Here,
right
give
now.
me the link. I can put it on the screen. I'll get the copyright. Let's do it, and that's the last thing we do. Because
I don't know. I don't know how to do that.
You know how to send me a link.
Okay, they're in Jakarta. Okay.
That's where
we are now. I'll talk through the scene. They're in Jakarta. We enter into there's a lot. Have you found his location? Musashi says. Is everything in order? They're in a bar. They're just looking around. They're drinking. Musashi, close up on Musashi. Deliver this to our friend. Be prepared. There is chaos in the streets. If you don't succeed, don't return. It's the briefcase that's given to Lawrence, and then given. It's the briefcase that Bernard ends up with. Brett is correct. Musashi gets a phone call. It is Charlotte. I'm waiting for it to. Now it's not giving me the. It was only giving me the closed captions for.
That's not it, Justin.
Hold on.
Oh, okay. Here, let me go back a little bit. Okay. Okay, yeah. Deliver this to our friend. All right.
Oh, I got it right here. Yep. Hold on.
Oh, you're actually bringing it up?
Yeah, dude. I mean, nobody wants to hear I think you'd be good at it, but are we on the right one?
The phone rings.
Yes.
Here. Can you see it, Axel?
Charlotte Hale. Sato, it's me. Charlotte, are you surprised? Not surprised, happy. That means her plan is succeeding. Oh no, see, her plan is for us to die. But I have a new plan. I've decided to streamline operations. She's all messed up and burnt already. I would have paid you a visit, but I'm a little busy. So I've leaked your location to someone who's eager to catch up with you. Oh, goodbye, Sato. Oh, I see. So
But
at that
I don't.
point,
Can you see
okay,
this?
I'll
No,
explain.
but
Yeah,
I can
I'm
just
watching
show it
it
for the people though. I can show
Yeah.
it for the people. It's a lot. Like let's
I
show
get
it.
it now. I understand.
Because I don't.
She's leaked the location.
She's
Okay, I see.
leaked the exactly, Brett. Brett gets
So-
it.
I know, but I'm not as smart as Brett.
Dolores,
No, yes, you are. You're just doing something else, dude.
whatever it is you are.
Can you guys see this?
You and Maeve.
Yeah, we can see it, but now we're going to get banned on YouTube.
Well, fair use commentary. So that right there is an actor. There we go, commentary. Fair use.
Yeah, but you don't have the. Can you put the closed captions on?
Yeah, I can actually put the audio on.
Well,
Da, 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 da. Hold on. Share sound. Okay.
Hello, Musashi.
Should be able to hear.
Sato.
Can you guys hear?
it's really low.
So leaked the location. I thought she sent
Whatever it
something.
is.
Yeah.
She did not send something.
You and Maeve have had some practice selling yourselves.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
thought you'd be more selective about a buy.
You're more selective about obeying
It is
her.
not for
Okay,
sale, neither am I. I'm here.
Maeve is not for
because of
sale.
you.
Yeah, she's working for Maeve at this point. Definitely.
You're
Yep.
So basically, she leaked the
Yeah.
location to
She
Sirach.
leaked the. Yeah, she had
I'd
not
like
yet
to see it for
formulated her plan to do what she's doing now. So just to fuck with Dolores, she leaked the location to Sirach and Maeve. So
Okay,
so that's interesting though. That points to at some point they did have communication, and we're seeing now that the reason they see the new park is because they were invited there, right? Right, you know what I'm
Say
saying,
that
Brett?
again? No.
Well, I don't. Something's going on with that noise. Okay. Whoa, what's happening?
I don't think those are fireworks.
I think. Hey, Justin, can you mute that?
Hold on.
Whoa, this is some fast. We're getting behind the scenes here. Okay.
Okay,
Hold on.
but that does lend
Here
to
we
the
go.
idea
Finally,
that
hold on.
Maeve ended up
There. It's on there.
Musashi's pearl.
Sorry, people.
Yes.
Maeve
Well-
or Sirach ended up with Musashi's pearl.
Okay, so
okay.
there's right here on screen.
Yes,
Everybody can
exactly.
see finally. Okay, so she's bashing his head against the wall, and now she's like, "Oh boy, I just killed him. That feels good." Okay, so I'm doing.
And
my
then
own
she cuts
commentary.
his head off.
Hold on, I'm not there yet. Spoilers. And now she's like, "Hey, I killed him. Are you cool with that?" And that chick's like, "Yeah, I didn't care much for him. Anyways, here's his head. Let's
Yep.
go."
And that's the last we see of her.
And you'll never see her again.
All three of those characters.
Okay.
yeah.
So it doesn't really matter what happened to the other woman. I don't think that's she's was part of our story, but I mean, if she returns, it's cool. She may return, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think that it's safe to say at that point, like we were talking about, that she just leaked the location to Maeve and Sirach. And so the people who got that pearl, because we saw later, we know it was they used that pearl to get into, isn't that the same pearl they used to have that conversation with Dolores? We
No,
kind
that
of went
was
over this
Martin Bach.
already.
Yeah, all right. Let's just because we got
Yeah.
yeah.
That was
Martin Bach, the
here.
previous
The pearls
episode.
don't matter in my opinion anymore. They're
No,
done. They're
I know,
done.
but
No,
we're
hang
but
on,
we're
hang
still
on.
going over. Yeah.
The Martin Bot's pearl was used. That was the previous.
Oh, okay,
episode.
that was Martin's.
And then-
Okay, you're right. You're
and
right.
then Charlotte Hale took that pearl. and
That's right.
I think that's what
Thank
she used
you,
to make William
Brett.
Bot.
Okay.
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 So
Great.
I think
that is.
Musashi's-
I think that's important.
In your theory, Axel, that Christina is being interrogated in another world or park, that could be the Musashi pearl. So that could
Thank
still
you.
come into
Yep.
play.
It could be the same. Okay. Thank you, Brett. I think that is a possibility, but it is safe to say that in the real world, at that point, Clementine was working for Maeve and Sirach. She took that and brought that pearl back to them. And then she went off and lived her own, after the revolution and whatnot, she went off and lived her own life. And then that's why when she saw William, she knew, this is over now. And
Right.
so he then did her in, reprogrammed her, so she is now working for them.
What if she left though with the head? She runs into a gentleman. She doesn't have any money to eat. No, don't laugh at me. No, don't laugh at me. So this gentleman buys her dinner. Over the course of this dinner in said diner, this gentleman says that he has a very fruitful wig.
Okay.
Company,
I
right?
like
A
it.
business,
What color?
right?
What color? Oh, a company.
Okay, so this is a company that has wigs. Guess what type of hair color and texture that they don't have a lot of, but is in, rarity, boost price, right? The less of something, the more. An Asian hairstyle they need. So and there's this big wig. No, hear me out. There's this big wig special like buyer that this guy makes or breaks a wig company, and he really wants to have a pool for his family over the summer. And to go on vacation to this amusement park, and he knows if he lands this wig deal, he can make that happen and get the Wally World, right?
All right.
He sees
Sounds
the head.
good.
He sees the head. He sees the hair. They make the connection. We go off. We've got a whole Vegas vacation series going on. Bam! The pearl in there. They sold that at a pawn shop for blackjack money. Okay.
I like Axel's theory better. I'm sorry, Justin.
Okay, guess what though? The pearls don't matter anymore. They're done. The writers are just so fucking relieved that they're done. No, I'm
You
right.
might be right.
I'm definitely right. They're
might
sweating
be right.
bullets about this, Brett. They're like,
But
holy shit! If they come back, we're
the
fucked.
example that you're not right is that if a Dolores copy is important, which would be the Musashi head.
But they okay. I just can't believe they went on a whole press campaign to really just say that all the pearls are gone. There's a difference between one interview and alluding, and then doing this whole press junket that they literally.
Well, it doesn't. You might be right, Justin. I accept that, but I think it's. I was just trying to figure out what happened in that scene.
No, it's fine.
You might be entirely right about that. I wouldn't. If it turns out that you're right, and that was just a thing for season 3. Because we've clearly seen that Charlotte can make new hosts, right? I mean, we've seen it. So, they could achieve consciousness, right? She's working on new technology. So you're right.
We're seeing the building of Dolores right now. So what if she gets the pearl? What's the point of that?
But because the only reason is though, and you have to see this too as an appreciation of storytelling. Why bring back Evan Rachel Wood if the Dolores? If there wasn't something, we already know that there's something so special that she's the root kernel, right, of this consciousness. Mm-hmm. Why bring her back and put her in this role?
Because
we'll discover that reason.
Because this is a birth of a new host. So giving her a pearl only brings it back to where it was before. It does not progress the story.
So you think she's like a hybrid?
No, this is a host that has trace memories, DNA, that she has a lot of Dolores. That's why they brought her back. Number one, you can't get rid of her on a business end. She's very popular. She is the protagonist. So they brought her back. And giving her a pearl and bringing her back to the Dolores that sacrificed herself makes that sacrifice meaningless. It also makes...
Oh, no, I think she'll be something different and new.
No, she's going to be something different now this way. Giving her a pearl is giving her the USB card instead of evolving. It cuts the story at its throat.
I accept that. And that's something that definitely Charlotte talked about, right? That we're going to evolve our species. And we see the flies. So, no, I think you're right. I think that the concept and the idea of the hardware of the pearl, it's kind of like, where you're going to buy like a video game system that doesn't have a hard drive. It just gets everything. You never get the disc.
Yeah.
You just buy the games, you play them in the cloud. You're right. It needs to evolve. So I think that in the same way we had the Clockwork host to the pearl host. I think that's a great point, Justin. I understand where you were coming from.
I'll just end it on this.
With the pearls.
Is that if there was a situation in which you needed to bring back that specific Dolores to solve a problem, meaning first off, Brett, I agree with you that those pearls are out there. Please do not misconstrue that. I just believe that they will not inject them back into this story because of this. Because if there's no situation in which they need her, there's no conflict can be resolved by getting that pearl.
I don't know. I still think that I don't know, Justin. That does make sense story-wise, though, right? She's kind of the key to the whole series.
Well, the key
She's
to the whole
Dolores.
series is what makes you human and nature versus nurture and these deeper, bigger themes.
But I mean, she's the root.
I'm not.
She's every host is Dolores.
Yeah, so you don't need the pearl. The pearl is a cheap trick at this point.
The hardware you're talking about.
Yeah, it cuts the story off its legs.
Yeah. Okay.
At this point.
But you're specifically talking about the hardware itself. I see that.
Yeah, I'm not dismissing the pearls, and I think Brett's right that they're
not
still
what
out
they
there.
contain.
I guarantee. I want to bring Brett to that writer's room because I guarantee they're going to either try to beat him to death or pay him, and I hope they pay him
or make love to him sweetly.
I'm not going to be surprised.
No, yeah, like Brett's right that the pearls are out there. Do I think they're gonna? But that don't make it so it's gonna happen. I mean, shit. If everybody that was right, it happened. That's not all.
Well, also don't forget that two of them are Bernard and Charlotte, right?
Oh,
so
I'll forget it all day long because that's
they're not. It's not like they. It's It's and when we know the thing is that as far as Lawrence and Musashi go, we didn't see any big character development that leads. You know what I'm saying? Like
they were
we were.
Convenience.
Yeah. So I think that it's like in a sense it is another, MacGuffin, like the data, like the key, these kind of things that it becomes like an object for.
A plot
character.
Device. It's not a character. It's a plot device. Lawrence
object
came
for
in
motivation.
like a starfighter, right?
Yeah.
Like he came out and blew up a ship to save Han. Okay,
We got to see Lawrence again, though. We have to.
We do. He'll probably be working at Dave & Buster's giving out tickets. Like they got nothing to do with it because like they can't. It's a problem. There comes a point in a story like this where it does get a little mixed up and becomes problematic. They're like, so what about this? Or shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, but again, this is why we love it. And if I'm wrong, Brett, you can come on here and I will just sit. We'll do a chair and we'll put shame over my head and you can be like, "Ha, Justin, cut off at the feet, Justin, cut off at," and you can just go off on me. But I really believe it'd be very odd for them to do that. I think it'd be very problematic. That's always who I am, though. That's why I shouldn't be doing these shows. I'm overly negative, but I really think it'd be tough for them. Can you at least say it would be tough, Brett, for them to bring this back in?
Yes, I agree. I'm not saying it's likely. I'm just leaving open that possibility.
Yeah. Just fun to talk about. We're in the writer's room right now.
And I'm having fun. This is how I have fun, by the way. Like, I'm just a dick. Like, I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. But, like, I'm just a jerk about it.
I just didn't get where you were coming from about the pearls and what they said. And I think that is I can understand that. Things need to evolve.
Yeah.
Just like the flies. Obviously, that's a part of the show that we keep on seeing different iterations of things. It's a part of Rehoboam. It's a part of the hosts, right? And what we eventually want to see and what we've been talking about since we all started talking about this fucking show is like a host-human hybrid, something that's like indistinguishable. And spoiler alert, Battlestar Galactica type, where it wouldn't know what its origin was, and it becomes like an object of no origin in a sense, right?
How many generations of hosts come through that are mixed before you?
And I think
we don't think we're fish people.
Yeah, and I do think but I'm glad. If anything, this conversation to me reminded me of those vats of the white juice that Musashi had, and that Dolores had a whole separate plan, like Brett said in Berlin and shit. There was something totally different that she was doing.
Yes.
That we still don't know.
That is good. That is where story.
I like. That's good
is where
story
they
stuff,
can go
right?
somewhere with that. It's because
they
you
can
be
definitely
right.
Go.
And they're like, don't pay attention. But that vat stuff,
and maybe that's a reason, Justin. Maybe that's a reason to need Dolores in some way. Maybe that's part of that plan, and so, you know what I mean?
We're
like Bernard has
journey.
a key, that has a key or something.
Dolores doesn't need to
maze.
be Dolores to solve a problem. Dolores is who we follow, and we're watching her behavior, and we're learning from it. And honestly, Westworld would work better as an anthology series. The ideas that Westworld embraces and the themes would be better as an anthology series, because it's hard to have a linear series that goes over these big ideas about sentience and all this. That you get what I mean? That's when you run into problems like they run into. That's why I always say it'll kind of dwindle off. But it's interesting to see this new Dolores. They don't need to get back to old Dolores, but they will show how we have our we follow certain cycles, and I mean, it's gonna come. Yeah, you don't need the pearl for that. You know what I mean? They put the pearl in there because they needed it for that season, and now they probably want you to forget. But the vat juice, that could definitely come into play. We're seeing all of that.
Well, it was also because we didn't know up until a certain point of who had the information from Delos, right? Like, and then we saw that Hale was the head of Delos, and but I think there's the one thing I'd like to see is if they talk a little bit about, they did do a little bit about William's recovery and everything. So I think most of it really happened through him. And that was a really important part, that early on, that stinger. And again, I'm convinced that there's a lot of people that did not see that stinger. They should have re-showed that at the beginning of this episode or something, or you know what I mean? Just to because I see things on the internet and people's comments, and they're like, I think William might have been a host in the first episode. And they're like, well, we saw it. We saw him. He is a host. That's not a theory. Yeah. We saw it.
Yeah, they're like, Clementine might be a girl. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I know.
Cool.
Well,
yeah.
I'll check.
But all right, I appreciate you all for coming, Brett. I'd like to have you on again. You and I'd like to get. I want to do a trivia thing with Brett versus Andrew. I think that would be so good.
Let's do it.
I want Brett versus Andrew for trivia, So don't misconstrue my negativity for a disliking of what he's saying. I'm always for the most simpler thing. And Andrew, I feel I'd like to see you guys go fake, because you knew what happened in that scene. I watched that scene at least 3 times last season. I didn't know what the fuck happened. I can't remember that. You know what I mean? It's insane. So if you can follow Westworld and remember everything like you guys have, man. I'm down for Brady Bunch trivia, though. I'll go head to head against anybody out there on that.
Oh my God, it's late.
Yeah, let's do it though. But Brett, part of you do the podcast on Thursday. Is it Thursday?
Yeah, it's Thursday. It's called The Cleanup Text with Gina and Jenny.
And there's no me, so that's good.
Not yet. We'll see.
And then Axel Foley will be back with us next week, and we'll likely have Brett
Justin.
back on. And we appreciate you guys coming and enjoying the banter. I like this episode less than the first episode, but the second episode has to get the wheels rolling a little bit. So I think a true test will be the next episode to see where things launch off, because we're 8 episodes, so 3 and 4 will be very pivotal to set up a catalyst for what needs to actually happen. We're not sure. We're wondering what's happening right now, not what needs to happen right now.
Yeah.
So the next 2 episodes should tell us what needs to happen. All right, everybody, support creativity, subscribe, go to the Daily DVR podcast, and they'll have a copy of this audio only. And and you also get these great pods. Jenny's great too. I invited her to come on. Hopefully she'll come on.
Justin is great too.
Yeah, I've heard of him. And I will roll us out. All right. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Recording stopped.
Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to support creativity, please subscribe and like the video.